What it do? What it do? Said crew. Hey, man, listen. We got bedtime MMA, and he's knocking out Alexandre Pantoja in the first round. Trust. Instead of being on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's going to be on the Skate Tank podcast with my man, Idaho Skatesman, on my left, and the one and only Hank the Tank. Michael Scott's getting it done. Trust. There ain't going to be no layoffs. The whole family's invited to the barbecue. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Woo! I'm your boy, Hank the Tank. Here to my left is the Idaho Skatesman, and it's Segmania, baby, all day, every day. This man's getting it done, and he's making Steve Carell proud, making his fellow Steves just jump for joy.
Hey, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I am pumped up. I waited 7 whole days for this one. This is the peak for me. This is what I was waiting the rest of my days for, doing all the work for.
I know. I feel like a straight up bum. You came in with the suit.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to keep it consistent with the gimmick. I had
no,
to.
That's all right. You got to show me up once in a while.
I had to dress up as my hero, Steve Urseg.
I love it, man.
And if Urseg doesn't win, I declare bankruptcy. That's right.
That's good shit, man. Well, yeah. Thank you guys for coming. We're gonna quickly break down the fights of today. We had one fight night that just ended, and this morning we had a very, very good morning card. Then we'll get into a little bit of what you guys really came here for. Talking about UFC. We're gonna be talking about Canelo versus Munguia. We're also gonna be talking a little bit about Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery. I'll give you guys a little bit of background on that one in case you didn't know.
And I'm a
Go
kid
upside your head a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm a kid in a candy store right now.
So I guess we'll just get right into it. I mean, what did you think about the card that just ended? We all just watched it. I thought it dragged on a lot, but give us your thoughts.
I think it got better towards the end. Poor Sundell missed weight before the card even started, and she was crying, and JL was like, yikes, she's gonna lose her title immediately. I'm never rooting for her again, said JL, even though he probably didn't know who she was. And then came back from a busted eye, Nate the Train style, and put her opponent away just like that. And at the end of the day, she's going to beat Raul Rosas Jr. for the youngest UFC champion. And at the end of the day, Raul Rosas Jr. ain't got shit on there. And at the end of the day, I'm going to cry in the corner, Ariel, because she's so much better than me at math. So she's on her way up. As long as Chatri doesn't put her on The Apprentice for the rest of her life, she's going to make it pretty far, I think. But
yeah, and I mean,
who's growing.
She's obviously the best talent that they got in like women's Muay Thai outside of Stamp Fairtex, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just the curious case of one hydration continues on.
Yeah, it continues to create all sorts of memes and sad stuff. But hey, you know, that's what one's all about, and at least we don't have any Chris Cyborg weight cuts. So I don't know. Subjected to that torture.
Not yet, and maybe in the future we'll get some, you know. Thank you all for coming. City Life Project, got Rush Hour. We got Denial, who apparently is a big Drake fan. I just found out about.
Yeah, he just ended K-Dot's career. There's no way.
Yeah, that's
Certified like Lover Boy does it again.
Well, I mean, hey, I don't think you can really consider yourself a battle rapper if you have people write your lyrics for you. But that's a whole discussion for another podcast. Maybe me and Denial will have to do a settling the score where we go back and forth about that. But anyway, so I'm trying to pull up some pictures for you guys, but I'll quickly just run down the one championship fight night. Let me get some names up here. I guess we could go over the card we just witnessed because, well, I don't know. We had to do this stream on the fly, so here's what I'll do. I'll pull up my phone.
I'm starting this stream by the seat of my pants, and I ain't never letting go. Plus, Denial's giving Nate the Train comments, so I'm staying up all night for that shit.
That's hilarious.
Okay, yeah. We're 5 minutes in. I said a cuss word, and we're not getting demonetized. Actually, we're not making any money. But
we're not making any money. We have no viewers besides you savages for some reason.
Life project is our life, brother. Do you understand? Oh, Lord, have mercy.
So let me just go ahead and stall him while I pull up this card here.
All right, I'll stall him. So what do you think of my getup, guys? How am I looking? Am I fit for Halloween or OnlyFans? Or both? Maybe Halloween-themed OnlyFans.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a little behind the scenes knowledge for you guys. There used to be a man by the name of Dylan Shaken, but nowadays he goes by King Red and Big Red, and he's the king of that shit. But this was the suit that I was supposed to wear for the talent show stream that never ended up transpiring. This is what I was.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was supposed to be a talent show,
and also I was supposed to do a little magic trick and wear that Cartman costume over there and trick everybody into thinking I was in reality just a big boned fat ass. Ooh. And then I would take, oh my God. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah. Your boy Skate has a Cartman plushie. So, just a little inside information about me.
Yes, JL. Your salty tears are so yummy. Yes. Anyway,
oh, fuck, I love it.
We're both big time South Park fans. And
clearly,
we're trying to develop the BMI of Cartman so we can create our own weight division, but it's not happening now.
All right.
I'm going to lose all my fat from this suit. It's just going to be 200 calories lost.
All right, so let's get right into it. So we had Elias Izaev versus Joiji Goto. Getting the Russia versus Japan in early, and this is the one morning card, in case you guys didn't know. Really, this was a grindy little MMA fight to start off the morning here at 5:30 or 6:30 my time, 5:30 Hank's time. So we did not watch this fight in real time because, unfortunately,
as Mr.
we're not as hardcore as some of you guys. But there was a good ghillie attempt from the Japanese guy, and then Elias ended up dropping Gato to end the first round. A lot of clinching and grappling was going on, and then Elias ended up hurting Gaito, but then drops for a guillotine, which we all know you should never do, right? Unless your name is Dustin Poirier.
The master of the guillotine. He's killing Frenchmen left and right.
Then he just kind of ended up grinding him down to a RNC against the ropes. That didn't end up. It finished the fight. So we then move on to a Burmese fighter versus a Japanese fighter. Min Kwa Za versus Ryohei Agato. A bunch of crazy ass kicks and wild swings to start the fight from both men. But in the end, towards the end of the second round, the Burmese man Min ended up bullying our guy Igato.
Nice. And rip Japanese MMA.
Just bullied him, and then the start of the second round, the Japanese fighter ended up kind of walking down the Burmese, and the ref had to do a lot of work pulling these two guys apart.
They were having a hugging session. They were dancing the tango.
And he was like getting his steps in on his little Fitbit there. And then a rocket right hand knocks down the Japanese guy with a body shot. And it was pretty clear at this point that he was compromised to the body. So he somehow made it to the end of the round. Like, he got hurt really bad. He kept kind of dropping, as you do when you're hurt to the body. And in the third round, we had a Burmese man kind of just start taking over the fight. He ends up winning a decision there. We then had a Thai, which doesn't have a Thai name. His name is Anton, which is kind of weird. Versus another Japanese fighter. It was basically just the power of the Thai fighter versus the speed of the Japanese fighter. And
did the Thai fight end in a tie?
It did not end in a tie, surprisingly.
Damn it.
Because there are no ties in Muay Thai.
Damn it.
Wrap your head around that one.
I thought there were ties. I thought the majority of them were ties. I guess just people, not results.
So there was a lot of throws from the Thai. He just kind of started to get wild, and he ended up just kind of falling from a bunch of spins he was throwing, like just spinning kicks, spinning fists. Ended up kind of falling. The Japanese guy kind of had no accuracy, but I thought this was a weird fight because the Japanese guy ended up like winning just basically on volume. And then we then had I think this was an MMA match. I can't remember. But he was kind of just jumping weird. He had a really strange style. And he ended up knocking out him, our guy Anton. He just knocked him out really unexpectedly. He has a really weird style, and he just got this really strange KO. But really, it was the pressure that got him the win there.
He didn't knock out the Pleasure Man, did he? Couldn't have done that.
Surprisingly not.
God. The Pleasure Man got cut, by the way. After
good. I can't stand that guy. He's a fucking weirdo.
He is. So
we then had somebody named. I was seeing this fight all over Twitter because they called Hannah Palmquist. They called her female Squidward, which was hilarious, but also kind of fucked up. So her nickname was the Hannibal, and her opponent's nickname was Cupcake Cookie, which is pretty hilarious. It was an awkward match. Hannah kind of grinded her. Cookie seemed like she was out of her element until she got the backpack early in the second round.
Backpack. Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for. So like the whole second round, she was on the back the entire round.
Fun. I think Aljo would have liked that.
And she actually, so to start the third round, Herb Dean gives Hannibal a yellow card for grabbing the ropes.
I thought it would be for biting her.
And she picked up the pace and kind of bullied her, stuffed the takedowns, and Herb was yelling at her a lot, which was kind of hilarious.
Wow.
And she ends up
Herb angry at somebody.
She ends up picking up the win.
Maybe he's learning from Mark Goddard. Oh, it's over! It's over!
For real. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's up Herb Dean's ass with these fights.
A lot of Herb.
We then had Pichachai versus a man named Ramadan Ondash, which I believe his brother fought on the card that just ended. And for some reason in these fights, there's always one guy that the girls in the crowd, or maybe lady boys, we're not sure yet, go completely nuts for. And this was one of those guys. They just lost their shit.
Wait, so is John Jones there?
Sorry. Oh yeah, he might have been.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask MMA Guru about that one.
Yeah. He's everywhere, man.
And Ramadan gets a quick knockdown early in the first round, which Pitch never really recovers from. He survives somehow. He gets another knockdown in the second minute of the fight. And then in the second round, Ondash kind of slowed down, and Pitch just spammed kicks. And when I say spammed kicks, like he literally spammed kicks like this was a fucking video game, and he was just pressing the kick button over and over again. Kind of like when you're playing Mortal Kombat with somebody, and they just keep hitting that weird little spinning low kick, like constantly, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, he ended up then sweeping him to kind of counter all the kicks. Ondash ended up sweeping him, and he actually had a sweep where he fucking knocked him on his back and like hit his head, which is pretty awesome. Ondash then switched it up and moved forward to stop the leg kicks. An overwhelm Pichachai to the win. We then had another fight, which is kind of a theme on this morning card. A guy named Singu fought a man named Pet. And like Singu was like this just massive. It looked like Fundora versus somebody, you know, just this massive guy.
Wow.
And it was like, you know, all these fights, they're kind of the same. They're like, yeah, sure, why not? They're kind of a battle for the distance. Singu made Pet pay for the distance with a left. He knocked him down. And then Pet kind of moved forward, transitioned to sweeps to try and slow down Singu. In the second round, he started to get inside. He hurts him. He hurts Singu. He goes all out, and he gets brutally slept by a left hand. His head bounced off the ropes. Singu, the taller man, his head bounced off the ropes, and by the end of it, his head was like hanging over the ropes. Super brutal finish on that card. So go back and check that out if you get a chance.
That's brutality. That's a Tyson knockout.
Oh yeah, 100%.
JL,
yikes. And basically, we had another fight with another guy named Pet versus a guy named Ruajing. Another major height difference.
Chantry has a
this
lot
time
of
it was yeah, he does have a lot of Pet, which actually means diamond in Thai. So.
Yeah, sure.
Another major height difference fight was the kicks, keeping Ruajing at bay. It was a very slow, boring fight. In round 3, they finally picked it up and slugged it out. And it was really just because Ruaju could not get inside. We then had a pretty good fight with a man named Chalawan. He fought another guy named Pech Sarija. Chalawan was too aggressive. He gets dropped for it. Pet was a lot faster. He catches him with a left on the ropes, knocks him down. He hangs on after a second. Chalawan switches the kicks to keep Pet at bay. He gets another knockdown for it, and he finally just gets melted by the end of the fight. Like literally just kind of melted and overwhelmed. Too many knockdowns. I think it was like 5, and I think they may even have a 5 knockdown rule or some shit like that. But either way, for that last knockdown, he wasn't going to get up.
Was it Jamal Hill's ice cream belly level of melting?
I would say it was on par with that. I think that's pretty bad level of melting. So, we then had a guy named Suicet versus a guy named Abdullah.
The Butcher.
Wait, am I tripping? Yeah, this is another Ondash. Abdullah Ondash. So, dude, today 3 people of the Ondash family fought for one championship, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, it's a shame that they have to work for DoorDash while they're fighting.
Right, they're Ondash. I get it. Yeah, I think that this flag is Cyprus, right? Do you know anything about? Oh shit!
Move it a little.
You know anything about flags? That's Cyprus, right?
I saw that flag in the chat, so I think it is Cyprus.
I think that's Cyprus.
Correct us if we're wrong.
But
touting it.
This is just a leg kick battle. It was slow. Ondash was the man plotting. Suicide kind of lands good, and he kind of breaks the guard of Ondash eventually. Second round was more of the same. Late, the fighters both opens up. Ondash started bullying him, swinging wildly.
Don't let him bully us, son.
Suicide was doing good at the end, but he was down big. Really, it was just more bullying, and ended up rocking Suicide, and he had a nice spinning kick to the body, but unable to finish him to a domination decision win. We then had another height battle between Duopong and another. I think his name is Pet Sukhumvit.
They got too many gyms around here. I need to shut a few of them down so I can.
Another height difference battle. Pet pressured, and he was actually able to get the win in this height battle by just keeping the pressure on. getting in the inside,
Sweet.
showing off the hands. Our last fight on the card was, I think it was supposed to be on the card, but the card kind of ended up dragging.
Oh man,
it was a post-limb Bellator.
A lot of these were.
It was a post-limb Bellator style. So Brazil, a man named Brazil, fought a man named Salmon Chai. Basically, Brazil was the aggressor, just bullying him. Salmon Chai kind of staggers Brazil at the beginning of the second round, and he kind of just kept that veteran savvy. Was able to kind of keep the young wildcat at bay, and ended up winning a unanimous decision to get that done. So, we then transition to the card we all just watched. One fight night.
Cyprus too. Which, by the way, Cyprus
with a CYRPUS.
RP.
So we had Sundell missing weight in the main event, but we'll go through the card quickly here. Did you watch this card?
I watched Isha watch this card, so whatever my impressions of the card come from his eyes and ears, and he wears glasses, so I don't. His account is 100%.
Thank you, Denial. That's Lebanon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Yes, exactly. Yes. Denial watched this card. A man named Sean Clemencio fought a man named Jose Cruz. And really, the story of this fight was just a vicious, vicious body shot. Probably one of the more vicious body shots I've seen in a while that the American Clemencio landed on our man Jose from Mexico. And
is he your man?
This body shot was so vicious, dude, that the guy just like folded immediately, and he looked like he had lost his ability to breathe.
Oof.
And it was super, super gnarly.
Gnarly, man.
We then had a submission grappling fight between two women that we were all very dreadful to watch. But within the first 30 seconds of the match, Bianca Basilio from Brazil ends up putting to sleep Ichikawa from Japan. In 35 seconds, she got a rear naked choke.
Sweet.
And a lot of people are saying that this is the best submission grappling they've ever seen.
Are they right? I mean, you must have seen it a few times. What do you think?
That's for you to decide. Usually the female submission grappling fights are just dragging.
That's true. They are fights.
We then had our guy El Jamari fought a crowd favorite, Thong Poon, right? If you don't know who Thong Poon is, better get hip with it.
King pie, baby.
Thong Poon, man.
He loves margaritas too.
This dude is always just down to have a slug match. It was pretty. I love watching this guy fight. But we had El Jamari kind of came in with like an 80s flat top, but it looked like ramen noodles at the top. So it was a very interesting choice of attire, kind of like you've picked tonight.
I once confused my cousin's hair for cotton candy back when I was 6 years old and actually tried to take a bite out of it. And now will never let me down since. And so whenever I'm at the door and I'm ringing the doorbell, I was like, no, don't come in, please, don't bite it.
That's like very believable.
Yeah. I was crazy as a kid, and I still am to this day, just in moderation.
So yeah, El Jamari was kind of piecing him up. Thong Poon looked really slow. And Jamari ended up getting a cut in the second round when they were just slugging. Then they slugged it out for the second round.
Like a bunch of
had a gnarly third round to just kind of go after each other. It was good shit, man. I actually really enjoyed that fight. And Thong Poon loses a decision by just being too aggressive and having like no sense of defense. He got rocked a lot, and as Denial says, he got blasted, but he took it like a champ. 100% true, man. He hung in there. He fought valiantly.
Was it a robbery, Idaho? Was it a robbery?
No, but there was a robbery on this card. We'll get to it.
Well, at least you admit there was a robbery. Okay, I can keep
Oh,
talking.
there was a big time robbery on this card.
Oh yeah, let's go. All right.
Chihiro Sawada fought Noel Grandjean. We don't have to go into this too much. Japanese blanketed her the entire fight. Yeah, honestly, all there really was like a submission attempt that led to nothing. Mm-hmm. And at the very end of the fight, she decides to throw on some ground and pound, which the fight should have been stopped, but Herb Dean for some reason just didn't stop it, which is a bummer. But Denial saying we got some audio issues. Let's check it out.
That's bad. Hold on.
No. His shit's fucked up. I don't know. Oh. Oh, okay. He's fucking with me. That's hilarious. All right, I'll give you that one, man. That was good.
How dare you, Denial? You made me ruin my air purifier. I'm going to get bronchitis now, Denial. You've ruined my life. I'm not going to get up and get back there and turn it back on. You've ruined me.
We then had I believe this was a kickboxing match. Between Rungaree, who's a Muay Thai fighter more generally, versus a man named Bogdan Shumarov. The slugfest. The guys were just matching each other, but Shumanov was the guy taking the center most of the time. Rungaree in the second. It was a really high-paced first round. Rungaree in the second round ended up picking it up with the knees. The pace was still high, but at the end of the round, both fighters kind of seemed to gas. It was a really even match the whole way through. It was basically Shumarov's boxing versus the knees and kicks of Rungaree. Shumarov must have thrown 100 punches. It was a split decision that Legatron, the Thai fighter, ended up getting the W on. We moved to our next fight was Reese McLaren versus Yong Hu. Who?
I'm
Yong
not sure
Hu?
what you're referring to. Yeah.
Yong Hu.
I know a doctor named Hu, but
Doctor Who. Yeah. I think he lives in Whoville. McLaren was looking sloppy with his punches, and Hu put him down twice. But he was a little too aggressive. He got taken down. In the second round, he was too aggressive. He couldn't hold down our guy Hu. He couldn't hold him down, so it was just kind of like a lot of reversals getting back up. In the second round, McLaren started realizing that he wasn't going to really win this one, taking him down and grinding him out, right? So he kind of settled into the kickboxing, and he ended up, like, at one point, what's his name? Fucking Hu? Ended up he threw a kick, and fucking McLaren was like, I love when that happens. I don't know. Call me a fucking cheese ball. But
wait, did you know that What's on second as well? Idaho Skatesman?
Yeah, I did know that. But unfortunately for Hu, McLaren was hanging with him on the feet, and Hu gassed out in the last round. And there was a late sub attempt. And
you have to be specific with me on who gassed out here. You can't be asking me these questions.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, though, is like, by the end of the match, Hu was not on first because McLaren ended up getting the unanimous decision victory.
So got struck out, huh?
Yes, exactly. So we then moved to our robbery. Yes, okay. Robbery of the fight.
Wait, hold on. Did I hear you correctly? I think I'm having audio issues, like Denial.
We moved to our robbery of the fight, okay? Yeah. A man named Akimoto, Hiroki Akimoto, Japanese kickboxer, 2-year layoff. So they were kind of just giving him a layup. And the only case that I can really make for this not being a robbery was the lack of volume. You know how Peter Yan kind of like downloads the data, then he kind of, that's what he's known for, right? Downloading the data in the first round, settling in.
Yeah.
What?
He's a hacker. Yeah. He gets that.
Yeah, data. Exactly. Right. So that's the only way, real way I can see him losing the first round. But it was just a lack of volume. But I think he still landed the cleaner shots, and he's fighting a man named Ru Wei, right? So I thought there was no way that Wei would win this fight.
No way.
He had solid defense through the first round. Ended up settling in at the end of the round, and he took over the second. And this is when I was starting to say, like, okay, this is a clear layup for our guy Akimoto. And I mean, like, honestly, he landed more shots. He landed harder. He barely got touched.
So he was doing everything right.
Yeah, and so, like, I'm sitting there just fucking around with the boys, talking shit. And I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever's clever. And they give it and he actually hurts Wei at the end of the third round, like, hurts him pretty bad. And they end up reading the decision a unanimous win for Wei.
Wow.
Which it's like it was
no way.
It was so clear that this guy didn't even belong in the ring with Akimoto, really. And I think that Akimoto probably fucked Chatri's wife.
Nice. Everybody so far.
He did something to him, man. I don't know, dude. This was like one of the worst robberies I have seen on a one card, hands down. Yep, exactly.
You know, just hearing this, and I'm feeling really bad for you right now, Idaho. But I don't know. I saw it going to the other guy.
Well, to be fair, you didn't even watch the fight.
We could make our next settling the score about this, okay?
I'm just saying, you didn't even watch the fight.
I'm trying to promote the next fight.
But I do understand what you're trying to do. And again, if I'm saying it's a robbery, you know, I think it was a pretty clear robbery. Because, like I said, the guy didn't really have any skills, and there wasn't anything he was doing that was really even hurting Akimoto. So I think it was the 2-year layoff and the fact that they just want. It's weird because he was on a 2-year layoff. I think he had lost a title match, and he was ranked like number 2 going into the fight. So I think they just really wanted to screw this guy over and give the other guy a ranking, so they can throw him in there, you know, with a guy they want to push, and then give him, you know, the ranking. So
hey, I mean, that's weird. They're in Thailand, not Las Vegas. Doesn't seem like a very apt location for that kind of chicanery.
But honestly, man, like, this card was a drag, and that a testament to that was our next fight.
Was it a good drag or was it a bad drag? Because I've had some good drags.
Oh, I thought you were talking about dressing up as a woman.
Well, you know, any drag's a good drag in John Jones' world, and so is it with me. And I'm very accepting of all of God's creatures. He just so happened to like them and also hit his wife a bunch of times. So
yeah, allegedly.
You know, there's a different. Yeah, the police have nothing on him. He bounced against the cop cars. If anything, you gotta charge him for abuse and assault against cop cars. We saw that on video.
So this was just a terrible match between Abayev and Li Peng Zhang. Not a lot to say on this. It was just a lot of back and forth grappling. Abayev initiated it and ends the round on top. The second round was a lot of bad striking. And this is just a terrible, bad grappling battle.
Bad.
Not much to say. But our next fight was really the crown jewel of the entire card. Dmitry Menshikov fought Sinsamut Klinmi. And oh my God, let me tell you guys.
Here's the fucking thing, you guys.
Klinmi, like, kind of cooked him in the first round, and Menshikov was just, like, trying to box. Literally just only threw hands. It was a very strange match to watch because it's like a Muay Thai fight, and one guy's not throwing any kicks or knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
But early into the first round, Menshikov hurts this guy with just a big swinging right hand, and he hurts Sinsamut, and he ends up getting him to the body, so he starts to lean down. And this is the time that Menshikov starts throwing these knees. And one of these knees, as he starts leaning a little more as the knees to the head are coming. One of the knees got him right on the top of the head.
No.
And this is like the most vicious KO I've seen in a while due to knees, because a knee on the chin will put you out, right?
Yeah.
And you'll fall and you'll crumble.
Right.
But a knee to the top of the head, that rattles you. And take it from the guy who's gotten concussions skating,
Yeah.
when your head hits that concrete in the right way, it just feels like your head is like a piece of concrete just getting rattled around for a while, man. And man, Clint Mee was down for the count, and I did not see him get up at all on the broadcast after they cut it. So, yeah, we then had a really boring fight between Akbar Abdullayev and Halil Amir. Ooh, and you'll like this a lot.
Here was my pick for the evening.
Oh, who was it?
It was good old Akbar Abdullayev.
Nice. And you were right on the money, man, because it was a super boring match. Abdullayev just kind of controlled Halil the entire time. And this was someone's gotta go fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a super slow match. Everyone was kind of just feeling down. The card was dragging. And then out of literally nowhere, as Halil is like kind of running to get literally running, to get off the ropes. Abdullayev just kind of hits him with this left hand. And it was shades of Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He was just trying to get off to the side, and Charles
just catches him with the left as he's running and just folded the guy. Like just folded him. Nothing left of him. He crumbled to dust.
Fantastic.
We then move on to the main event with Smilla Sundell. She came in overweight. We all know the story. Lost her belt on the scale, and kind of a bummer for one.
At least she didn't go out like Gomez.
Yeah, so. But yeah, exactly. Getting the fight canceled, but the hands of Dyachova ended up giving Sundell problems in the first round. She actually staggered her and cut her at the end of the second. Yeah. Sundell gets swept to start off the second. And actually, a spinning back kick from Dyachova ends up taking Sundell off her feet. And literally, Sundell just kind of out of nowhere gets the KO, hurts her, ends up finishing her off on the ropes with a bunch of brutal knees in rapid succession. So
she's a human dynamo. You know what? It's interesting that the last two fights of this card played out like Charles Oliveira's career. He beat Michael Chandler in the exact same way that Olives did. And then he lost his title to the scale, and then immediately destroyed his next opponent afterwards.
Justin Gaethje.
Yes, sir. And so
that was easy. That was easy work for Charles, man.
This card did a Charles Oliveira impression.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe Chatri planned it that way. You never know.
Yeah, he's begging for Charles to leave and not do the Gaethje rematch. Hey, the one champion has a name. It's Demetrius Johnson and Charles Oliveira, brother. Me and Mighty Mouse.
So you didn't watch any of the card?
I watched Isha's reactions as I was finalizing my picks for this stream. The UFC 301, which I am not. I am very satisfied with. I'm proud of, and hopefully I can get the 100% pick rate. Unlike the Guru, your boy's going to be up on top. Bedtime MMA is going to win that world title. And I'm going to have the pick percentage of Bedtime MMA too. Trust. Hey, man, listen. I'm putting this guy Pantoja to sleep bedtime. And then I'm doing a bingo card all over his grave. So it is what it is. But I'm very excited. Yeah. Do you mind if I share my locks for Friday and show you who I did?
Let's go through the card, and then as we go up the card, you can tell us what ones are your locks.
Okay, but first I got to show you my locks for these last two cards that happened. Because I was
for one championship.
You were talking about me being right on the money for one fight night. I was right on the money for LFA too.
Okay, let's get into it.
All right, check this out. Give me one seckie. Boom, boom, boom. Oh God. Oh no. Which ones? Oh, no, I'm bad at this. Run. Crud.
It's a live show, guys.
Let me try this. Yeah, this is the end for me. You son of a bitch. No! Okay, never mind. I'm just going to discuss them. So, for LFA, let's see. Oh, God, where'd it go? Amateur hour. Fuck. Give me 1 second. I got to find it. So, for LFA, I got this guy named Marquez, who was a submission artist and was tapping all of his opponents in the first round. And I predicted that he would beat a 3-3 guy via submission in the first round. And that is exactly what happened. Got it right on the money. And he literally finished him with the same maneuver that he finished his last fight. So I was happy about that. Got the 100 points on Tapology. So that was check mark. And then for one fight night, I got Abdulayev by knockout in the second round. And what do you know? Crotch sniffs him the first one, puts him out like olives in the second one. Easy money.
I thought it was the third round. I could be wrong, though.
No, it was the second round.
Nice.
It at least counted it that. So
yeah, sick. Again, it was a slow match. I was kind of tuned out until the knockout happened. So
yeah. They called me Mystic Hank because I predict these things. That's right.
Mystic Hank strikes again on regional MMA.
Hallelujah.
And he's the guy to watch. He's the guy to check out. He does his research really well. And sure. I'm happy to have him as a co-host here.
Thanks, brother. Happy to be here.
So now we've got a little bit of visual aspect to the show for you guys. So let's go through these picks, man. Mm-hmm. Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas, a flyweight bout for our first match. What's the lowdown? What's that?
Do you have any thoughts on it first?
Well, I know that Alessandro Costa is, he's on a better run than Borjas is. Borjas lost his last fight, I believe, on short notice. His nickname is literally El Gallo Negro. That is hilarious. There's a famous Mexican like cult classic called Blood In, Blood Out. And in that movie, the fucking guy's name is El Gallo Negro. Like when they speak about it, they're like, "Oh, he was the Black Rooster, 13 KOs."
Wow.
Fucking hilarious.
Isn't the Black Rooster supposed to be a really aggressive animal? Like the rooster is supposed to be the mater of the hen house. I saw it in a documentary, but compared to I did. It was Clarkson's Farm, and that show has a lot of good jokes, but also a lot of animal shagging, and they do not shy away with it. They show it explicitly on camera. Nature.
That's really strange.
Yeah, it is. It is super strange, and we did not enjoy those sections, but they did show the Black Rooster of the hen house getting it on with the females in order to reproduce. And it was a very successful operation. It was really, truly the beauty of life, as God intended. I mean, nature. I mean, God.
So Kevin Borjas was on a good run, and he had a short notice call-up against Josh Van, in which he lost to Josh Van via unanimous decision. And Costa ended up fighting Emil Bazzi on short notice, and he got KO'd. His next fight was against Jimmy Flick, where he knocked him out, which is,
so super impressive. Really
Jimmy Flick. But then he had a unanimous decision loss to our guy Steve Ursig fighting in the main event, or as Hank would call him, Michael Scott.
Or Bedtime MMA, as he sometimes goes by in his.
What's Bedtime MMA? I don't understand.
Bedtime MMA is a YouTuber, an MMA YouTuber, and he is from Australia, and he just so happens to start sounding like Steve Ursig after 10 minutes of talking. And so basically, if you literally look for a Steve Ursig interview, like by the UFC, and scroll down into the comments, and you will see people saying, "What it do? What it do? Ursig.
Yeah, I've never heard Steve Ursig speak. So
he's a nice guy. He's a likable guy. The Aussies are, I think, undefeated when it comes to being likable personalities. I've never met an Aussie I didn't really like in MMA. And so he sounds exactly like Bedtime MMA, and Bedtime MMA is an influential MMA YouTuber, and to the point where Bedtime had to come out and say, "Okay, listen, Bedtime crew, I ain't Ursig, okay? You feel me?
Even if he's so influential, how come I've never heard of him?
And you don't know who I am, and we haven't met each other in the same room, and you had never seen my face. That don't mean I'm Steve Ursig. That being said, I'm picking my boy Steve Ursig to win. I'm picking me. I'm picking Steve." And then he's going through the comments and just liking every single comment comparing him to Steve Ursig. So clearly he doesn't have a problem with it.
That's great. Much needed.
Representing.
That's great. Much needed information. Exactly. I think I can take this one hat off now that we're not talking about one.
He's Michael Scott and he's Bedtime MMA. So you got to remember he's got 3 different personalities.
I'm not going to remember any of that or care about it.
Well, just like Ryan Garcia, he's going to prove you wrong. Schizo's going to get it done. Let me see if I can share the page this time. I think that I'm ready now. Here we go. And can you see this? Ta-da! There we go. Here's my pick. The very first fight of the UFC 301 Brazil card, full of the filthy animals throwing beer bottles. It's Alessandro Costa by decision. I think that Costa's the more athletic fighter. He has great takedown ability. He beats flyweights who aren't future title contenders, which he's been given 2 future title contenders in his last 2 fights, and he's lost to them both. But lost to Amir Albazi isn't bad, and then he lost to Steve Ursig by decision, which is actually now a little more impressive with the Matt Schnell knockout.
Yeah, I literally just said all of that, but okay.
So Borjas, meanwhile, he fought a future contender in Joshua Van, and he didn't pose much of a threat beyond the first round. He had a little bit of power, but then he started to gas out over time. So I feel like Costa's going to take him down and basically wear on him for 3 rounds. I don't think Borjas will be able to knock out Costa before he's able to take him down, and I think he can keep him down like GM3 did to Barberena and grind him out to a decision. But he could get a finish by a ground and pound. I think Costa is quite a talent, so I wouldn't give up on him just yet.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I actually have the same exact pick.
Also, Borjas puts dye in his hair, so it's automatically sus to me. It's part of the Izzy gang. He's got to go down.
That's weird because you're such a huge Charles Oliveira fan.
That's true. But hey, every once in a while, he's like the president after 8 years. It just naturally turns blonde over time.
Yeah, he's dyeing his hair, bro.
He can't help it. He can't help how his hair looks.
Also
it goes down like this. Like it's not even colored all the way. It's just one line that goes down. And I've seen guys who have had that hairstyle, and I've seen them get killed via knockout. So I don't know. I see it as a pattern. The partially dyed hair man is going to go down. Next, would you like to share your screen? Show the next fight.
I'll go ahead and preview the next one because I'm still trying to get it pulled up.
All right. Give me 1 second. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, just scroll up.
Go up a little bit. Here we are. Are you surprised, Idaho, by my pick? Is this shocking the world? Have I turned it on its axis?
Yeah, no.
Wait, really? Oh, man, I thought you'd be impressed. Oh, crap. Now I have to explain this. So, Ismail Bonfim. I think this one's kind of a no-brainer. I think Pichel,
100%.
He's 41 years old, right? And he has not had a lot of fights as of late. He's had a bunch of them canceled, including to Bonfim, right? Wasn't he supposed to? Yeah. And apparently Bonfim was an asshole and did a little side smile at him when he knew that he was going to miss weight. And so Pichel, I think, rightfully decided not to fight because he didn't make weight, and then he was a little snotty about it. So now it's being rebooked for 301. They are giving Bonfim a godsend opportunity to get a big win in Brazil, just like with McKinney. Ismail Bonfim's last loss was to Benoit Saint Denis, and it has aged like a fine wine since.
Yeah, you can't knock the guy for losing to him.
Yeah, and he got staff against Dustin Poirier, so I don't even think that was 100% Benoit Saint Denis. I guarantee he would have
Saint Denis.
Yes, Denis did have staff.
I'm saying Saint Denis, like so Denise, like a girl.
Yes, Denise. I actually was with her in my fourth grade history class, and we've known each other ever since. And she changed her ethnicity to Brazilian, and she found a brother.
Like Mackenzie Dern, like Mackenzie Dern.
Yes, or Denise Gomez. Yeah, that's right. A.K.A. Yasmin Lucindo, who we will be talking about later. So that loss is aged like a fine wine. It's clear that a deadly finisher. Asked the Tricks Rabbit, Terrence McKinney. I feel like Pichel's going to look slow, and Bonfim's going to catch him with something big in the first round and put him out in easy fashion, especially with such a rabid and expectant Brazilian crowd out there. I think he's getting another high right reel knockout for the ages. So another win for the weight bully.
Yeah, I like it. And, man, I've got the same pick.
Good shit. Although, I might be overestimating his ability.
But I'm going to just go safe and just do the third round. I think that it's likely he gets a first round knockout. But again, I'm just going to, every time I think there's going to be a knockout, I just kind of go safe and go third. Especially for Tapology. I think when I make some bets tomorrow, I might change it up, see what the odds are. But, I don't think Vince Pichel is necessarily like a can. He went to a decision with Austin Hubbard, but that was 2 years ago. And his last loss was to Mark Madsen, which it was
Mark Madsen.
Yeah, it was like a grindy fight from Madsen. That's what he does. He's the wrestling champ of the world, right?
Back for 1 second.
So yeah, I don't think that it's like a death sentence losing to Mark Madsen. So I think that Vince Pichel is going to be not fresh because he is the older guy going into this contest. As you can see there, he's 41 and a half on fight night. So, and really it's just, the height is all that he really has going for him in this one. But yeah. So yeah, we're aligned so far on the card with our picks.
I gotta just expect Idaho to pick a finish in the third round at this point.
Right.
I might as well completely change it.
That's what I'm gonna do. It is what it is.
All right.
We then move on to our next fight. The Witch.
First.
What's that?
You can explain first since this is your screen, and I'll show you mine.
So we got the Witch versus Heavy Handed. Dione Barbosa versus Ernesta Caricati. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do too much research for this one or anything like that. Dione is an LFA vet. She got some wins there. She then got into the Contender Series via submission, which is a shocker, right? Because you would have thought she would have got the split decision win and got in like Ernesta did. Mm-hmm. But
classic.
I think the Ernesta youth may pull through. But I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead with Dione here. I think that she's got the chops to handle her. But yeah, what say you?
All right, let's see. Wait, do you have to stop sharing for my screen to show? Let's see. I'm gonna stop and then I'm gonna start. Give me one second.
You don't need to do that. You just start yours and you'll be chilling.
All right. Can you see this?
Yep.
Right, there we go. So I think that Caricati, or whatever the fuck her name is, hasn't had a fight in MMA since 2019, where she hasn't gone to a split decision or a draw, which doesn't impress me very much. She's just barely good, in my opinion. Barbosa beat Karine frickin' Silva in her amateur career and also took down Josiane Nunes. If she can control both those women on the ground, I think she will definitely be taking down Caricati. The sky seems like the limit for her after that armbar on a 5-1 contender. And plus, she's a Brazilian female, so you always have to take that into account. I'm going with her by submission in the second round, but I can easily see this going to an Idaho Skatesman decision too. I think a kickboxer going to split decisions isn't really all that great. And I feel like kickboxers are very prone to grapplers. So this is going to be like Alex Pereira versus Jan Blachowicz if that happened for the next 3 rounds. I could give Ernesta a chance. She's pretty skilled, but
and the younger fighters, she got the youth on her side.
Yeah, but if anyone's going to finish this fight, it's going to be Dion Barbosa, in my opinion.
Yeah, we then move on to our next fight: Mauricio Ruffy versus Jamie Malarkey.
All right.
Yeah, you don't need to like close your screen every time. You're totally fine. Yeah, all good though.
Give me 1 second. I'll bring us back.
You're good. It's all good. So we got Mauricio Ruffy versus Jamie Malarkey. Jamie Malarkey's coming in as a pretty sizable underdog here. He lost via KO to Nasrat Hakparas, which, I mean, Nasrat's not known for knocking dudes out. Let's be honest. Our Brazilian fellow over here is on a pretty good run. KO. This guy's knocking motherfuckers out. The only thing that I will say that gives me pause about just outright picking Mauricio to melt Malarkey is the scrappiness of Malarkey. Though he has been losing to Nasrat Hakparas, a small lightweight, and Muhammad Naimov, who kind of looks like the real deal. And he had that really weird fight with John McDessie, and before that, he pieced up Prado pretty good, but he had that weird split decision win to Michael Johnson, which I actually thought probably should have went Michael Johnson's way.
Yeah. He's edging his way to wins at this point.
Right. So it's like, but he's a scrappy dude, right? And he hangs in there. It's just that KO to Nasrat only 4 months ago that gives me pause about picking Malarkey. So as you can see up here, I do have Malarkey to get it done.
Really?
But I am going to change my pick to Ruffy. I think that he's just got the momentum.
Yeah.
And the Nasrat knockout 4 months ago, I think that's probably going to seal his fate here.
Yeah. I feel like this fight's going to mirror his fight with Nasrat. Give me 1 second to share.
Yeah, you don't need to close it out either this time at all.
I will not. I promise.
Yeah, and I'll just let me know. I'll switch over to your screen if you want me to.
So, you see me? See the screen? Here we go.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think this is going to mirror his fight with Nasrat. I want to say rest in peace to Jamie Malarkey in advance. If he's getting knocked out by Naimov and Nasrat, I think this is going to be easy work for Rufi. The guy finished a 10-1 Dagestani and knocks out basically everybody he sees, not just in the cage. He's a monster at the moment, and Malarkey is way past his prime. It looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing anymore on the feet in the octagon, which is sad because I enjoyed watching Malarkey fight at one point, especially his last, his last fourth and third fights. But Malarkey's just going to be awkward. He's going to fail a couple of takedowns, and then I think that Rufi's just going to knock him out cold. And this will probably be the last that we see of Malarkey.
You might say he's going to roofie Jamie Malarkey.
He's going to send him a roofie, all right. He's putting him to sleep. After the local bar, he's going to give him one of them, too. And this is the last we're going to see of Malarkey, unfortunately. I think this is going to be it is a brutal sport, and it's a shame, but I think it's going to be a W for Brazil.
Hey, what's up, Kiwi? Hey, it's all right. I'm sorry we're picking against your guy Malarkey, man. But the KO to Nasrat.
We're going to redeem ourselves, Kiwi. Just wait until the end. We will redeem ourselves for all of Australia.
It's really just the 4 months ago getting knocked out by Nasrat that makes me really think that Jamie's cooked here. But this is going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts, man. Jamie's not going in there to have a boring fight. I don't think he's KO or nothing. Same with Rufi, I think.
Nothing.
And Kiwi himself is even fading the man from down under. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
The Aussies have abandoned him. He's not invited to the cookout anymore.
Right.
Because there was shrimp on the Barbie, which is sad.
So our next fight, Drakkar Klose versus Joaquin Silva. Joaquin Silva is 13-4. He's won 2 out of his last 3. And on the other side, Drakkar Klose is 14-2-1. He's won 4 out of his last 5. His last fight was a Joe Selecki KO via slam, which is wild. I remember that. That was a pretty good one. Joaquin Silva is a decision win to Clay Guida, which really doesn't look good. if we're being honest. But yeah, I got Jakar to get this done by knockout. I think that's kind of how he wins most of his fights, right?
Yeah.
But the names that he's beaten, like Brandon Jenkins, pretty good 2 years ago. Rafa Garcia has actually shown to be a decent prospect. And the Selecki KO was pretty surprising to me, actually, because Selecki's not like a guy that just gets knocked out, and that was a vicious slam.
Hey, something was in the water in Austin. There was something in the water that was having slamming each other silly.
That was a great card.
That was fate. That was fate that those two slams.
But honestly, like, I don't know if you can really rate this loss to Arman like super bad, because obviously Arman is a great fighter.
He's going to be fighting for a title.
Yeah.
If he wants it, please, Arman, accept the title fight. Anyway.
So, yeah. What say you, my friend?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I'd be able to know which screen was mine and which screen was yours, because I had the exact same decision with this fight that you did. I'm going with Drakkar Klose via Idaho-style round 3 knockout. I think Joaquim Silva was getting pieced up by Clay Guida, and he couldn't even throw away Guida or even rock him. Now we know that his left hand against Arman was indeed sort of a fluke, because even powerful Charles Oliveira couldn't put him away with a shot. He's been KO'd by plenty of guys as well. Klose, meanwhile, has been very consistent, if anything else, since his iconic knockout loss to Dariush.
Which was a great fucking fight.
Yeah. It's sad. He's going to go out like Chael Sonnen, where he gets into the Hall of Fame, but he gets in there for a loss in a Hall of Fame fight. That's the only way he gets in there. Klose, he had an iconic KO loss that had Joe Rogan going, oh!
Yeah. Actually, that iconic picture of them all freaking out is that knockout.
It was from the Dariush versus Klose fight.
Yep.
Was born. If Dariush doesn't win a belt, I'd say his legacy is going to be that Joe Rogan reaction for sure. So thank you to Dariush in advance before your retirement.
Dariush had a long win streak at lightweight, and he's a damn good fighter to me. But yeah, and after hearing that he's having concussion syndrome issues, which we don't know what that means, definitely not looking good for him on his comeback.
His head has been knocked around a little too much. That's why I'd actually recommend that he takes the Moicano fight, is because I doubt that Moicano would be able to knock him out on the feet. If anything, he'd be trying to take him down and submit him. Now, obviously, he did the invisible hammer fists to Jalen Turner, Joaquin Buckley style to Luque, and that put him away. But I don't know. I feel like, if anything, Dariush's pro is going to be his submission defense and his takedown defense. So that would probably be his best bet in terms of trying to bounce.
I honestly disagree. I think at this point, Renato probably knocks him out. Honestly.
That's a shame. That sucks. But, well, looks like he's going to get a brain bleed. Anyway.
And that's a guy I'm pretty high on, too. So our next fight.
Wait. Hold on. I got to finish my summary. So Klose is beating everybody put in front of him. And coming off that brutal slam KO, it looks like his killer instinct is finally starting to return. I think that Klose is going to outland Silva, not get caught like that soy Arman. I mean, what were you saying? Men in Black. I just erased your memory. Forget I even said it. And eventually he'll be able to take him down and ground and pound his way to a victory. I think this fight won't be that close, but it will be a close fight, if you know what I'm saying. It does have close in it, so it's a close style fight.
Certainly, yeah, and I don't think that like Joaquim's gonna be able to out grapple Klose either. I think Klose is just kind of the bigger, stronger guy in this matchup, more physical. So it's gonna be an uphill battle for Joaquim. Our next fight, which this is one of the fights on the card that I'm really looking forward to. You got two 26-year-old guys.
Wow.
Elvis Brenner is 16-3. Orabali is 12-1. Really, the story of this match is going to be whose game is going to be the more imposing, right? Is it going to be the grappling of Orabali, or is it going to be
not just the grappling? We haven't seen it yet, but not just the grappling. Anyway, keep going.
Or is it going to be the dog of Elvis Brenner?
Rod.
If you remember, he came in on, was it short notice against Tuhugov, or was it short notice against Kudaladze? I can't remember.
I think it was definitely short notice against Graham. That's why everybody
Yeah.
was picking, even when he was coming off the pass.
And that's really what kind of put him on the map, was that KO of Graham. I don't know who Cayenne Krush. I don't even know who that is, honestly. But yeah, this is like one of the more interesting fights on the card, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Elvis Brenner to get it done by decision. I'm not really married to that. I think this fight could probably go either way. But I do think it will be a good fight for as long as it lasts.
That's cool. Let's see what I got.
Is it cool?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, it's cool. It's cool because.
Why are you sorry? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about, dude. It's like we're doing a pick show. We're both making picks. It's not like it has to be.
I'm sorry because it's a funeral for Brenner, in my opinion. It's a rest in peace to the hype train. Not a brutal rest in peace, but it's going off the tracks like Nate the Train against Dan Ige. So the thing about Orobai, this fight makes me sad. I'm really sad that this fight exists. It looks really fun on paper, Anthony Smith style, but why would they attempt to sacrifice such a great prospect in Elvis Brenner, an undefeated guy coming off of his debut fight and a horrific highlight reel on the regional scene? I feel like this is going to be like Shavkat versus Wonder Boy, where Brenner's just going to hit him with some good shots and everybody's going crazy, and then Orobai will drag him down and grunt on him like a real caveman, like his descendants did, and he's going to hit him over the head with a wooden club, and then mate with him in order to preserve the Homo neanderthalensis species. In order to evolve humanity.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you're really high on Uros Medic, and Orabali submitted him pretty quick. So yeah, I do understand why you're making this pick.
He's a great striker, Uros Medic, and he can find the angle from anywhere, and he has great power. But I don't even care how good your takedown defense is or how much you trained it. When you're against a guy with this kind of grip strength and this type of training from where he's at, where his gym is, I just feel like he's going to take anybody down, even someone who's practiced takedown defense his entire life. I wish UFC Orobai was LFA Orobai. If you know, you know, but unfortunately he's not. So I feel like this is going to be a dull affair for 3 rounds, and he's going to treat him like Brady did. It's going to be Almeida versus Lewis 2.0. Yay, he hit him. Oh, he takes him down. I'm praying for this one that Brenner hits Orobai right behind his cauliflower ear and flatlines him like his last fight. My final comment was, please, Brenner, please. So if he wins, he's going to make a religious man out of me. But unfortunately, I feel like God doesn't exist, and neither will Brenner's victory in this fight.
Yeah. So he's training out of Ulu Kurzik team. Never heard of that.
Yeah, but they probably practiced some substances on their fighters' bodies in a great lab experiment.
I see what you're saying.
So he'll come out of that and he'll pass the hydration test, guys. It's gonna work out okay.
So we'll move on to our next one. It's Carolina Kovalevich versus Yasmin Lucindo.
I want to mention something really quick.
Yeah,
I had comments on the William Gomez versus John Silva fight.
Okay.
And my exact words after Gomez basically canceled the fight because of his illness, I was saying that basically Gomez was going to treat John Silva like Izzy did the puppy. Shout out to the puppy, because he fights like Izzy Adesanya, and you know that Silva likes to bark a lot like a dog after his fight in the post-fight interview. So he was going to treat him like Izzy did his
yeah, certainly a bummer losing that fight.
Yeah, but then we lost the fight, and I didn't know we lost the fight, but I know that he looked absolutely horrible on the scale. So my exact words were, never mind, John Silva by brutal first round knockout. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Jeebus. Oos! Gomez destroyed himself to make weight. Now he's underweight, shriveled down to a prune. Rest in peace, Gomez. But I didn't know it was rest in peace the entire fight. So that's a real shame. But hopefully they give John Silva somebody that he can smash and start acting like a maniac afterwards, because I enjoy him.
Yeah, and we all do. I mean, I don't know if he's the guy that beat. What?
If you watched him on that one fight night, you love him for sure.
What?
But I think a lot of people were watching Ankalaev versus Walker, so hopefully people remember him.
I think that was the Jubilee fight, right?
Yeah. Why did you redeem, sir?
No, that was a different guy, actually.
It was Weston Wilson. He knocked out Weston Wilson.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Yasmin Lucindo. Yasmin, her only loss was to Jauregui, the Battle of Yasmins. And it's a 22-year-old versus a 38-year-old. So could the experience of Kowalkiewicz win out in this fight, and she gets a win, with just that veteran savvy? I think not, but to be fair, she's been proving I've been picking against her in most of these fights.
Your entire life. Ever since.
And what? Go ahead.
Your entire life. She's always proven you wrong.
Yeah. And
what was her name? Ariana Lipsky. Always been proving you wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Da Silva. Difference.
Yeah, right. Change your name. But yeah, I think that Lucindo's got this one. I'm gonna pick her to do a submission in the third round, but I think looking at it, I think it's more likely to. I'm just gonna go with the decision win. And I think it's just gonna be. I think either Yasmin will get the finish, or it'll kind of just be a pedestrian decision win.
Rod Sniff decision. Well, this is like Siskel and Ebert when they picked the winners for the Oscars, and one of them made a pick that the other liked, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you open up that letter? Why don't you open up and see what's inside?" Well, what do you know, Gene? I have the exact same pick that you do. Good old Yasmin Lucindo. I think the former Denise Gomez. This is a close fight. Both these women are pretty good, but Karolina is getting up there in age. Lucindo is a very athletic Brazilian woman, and she got a submission in her last fight against a pretty good opponent. I like Karolina personally, like just watching her as a fan, but I feel like Lucindo has more potential at this point, and will take Karolina down in moments. Again, if anyone's getting a finish, it's the very strong Brazilian. And Karolina has been skirting her way to pretty close decisions, like that other woman. What was her name again? Ernek or something?
Diana Belbita?
No. She'd started with an E. She was going to like split decisions as a kickboxer. What was her name?
Police Herrig?
No. This was on the card. It was Ernesta Karakaya.
Oh.
Going to very close decisions in her fights in which she would win. So she's similar to that kind of, but at the same time, I just feel like Lucindo is going to have more power over her. She's getting up there in age. Even though she looked very confident in the Embedded episode, I just feel like Lucindo is going to squeak out a few more rounds and win this fight by. Hopefully, it's not a boring affair. And again, I root for any Brazilian woman to lock in an armbar or a rear naked choke. But I just feel like it's not happening for this one.
Right.
Rip Karolina opponent afterwards.
The only fight that gives me pause is like that the Demopoulos fight. She ended up getting the submission over her. But that's really the only fight that really holds weight to me.
Yeah. In
this one, for Karolina's favor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're pretty aligned on that one.
I feel like we're pretty aligned for most of this card. Other than your Brenner pick, which I really respect.
So we'll go to the next one.
Let's see.
It's Joe Anderson Brito versus Jack Shore. The man from Wales is a plus 150 underdog, and our guy Brito is a minus 185, which is a pretty considerable favorite if you ask me. Jack Shore is 29. Actually, they're both 29, which is interesting.
Joe Anderson. You wouldn't know it by looking at their pictures. One of them looks like 10 years older than the other.
If you look at their pictures, Joe Anderson looks like he's a 40-year-old man, and Shore looks like a 19-year-old. So
he looks like he's literally made of rock.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's kind of going to be the play here. Though Jack Shore is a very skilled grappler, and he's shown that he can hang on the feet too. I just think that I mean, if you look at these wins that yeah, I think that this is like similar to the Jonathan Pierce fight, right?
Right.
It's a similar
Get up and do
matchup.
something, boy. Get up and do something. Oh.
I think it's a similar matchup. Who knows though? Maybe Jack Shore is a little better than JSP, but which I thought it was a close fight against David Onama, but so it could be the same here, and that's why I'm gonna pick Brito to get a decision win.
The only difference is that I feel like Brito's going to have a lot more fight IQ when he stuffs those takedowns or he gets off from he's going to lock on something or try to beat him up on the feet.
Yeah, and I don't think that like Shore's chin is compromised. At this point, he's a pretty fresh fighter. But yeah, that's kind of my breakdown of this fight. What say you, my friend?
I think Brito has a lot of power in his fists that people don't know about who just watched his last fight. Like, he's really good on the feet. I don't think that Jack Shore has dealt with this level of striking or grappling yet in the UFC. Again, Brito would be a finisher in this fight. If anyone's finishing this fight, it's going to be Brito. And I always lean towards the fighters who have more power in their fists and can put their opponent away. Shore's eventually going to feel Brito's power, and I feel like he's going to panic going into round two. Like, whatever he was going to, whatever game plan coming into this fight to figure out Brito's style, I think is going to backfire. I think he's got way too much range to be figured out. Brito Water is then going to snap his head back with a shot and make quick work of him by, I think, the middle of round two.
Yeah, actually, scroll up so we can see your pick.
He's going to crack him like so. And then he's going to bring him down to the ground, and he's going to put him away with maybe a ninja choke or a rear naked choke or an armbar or anything he wants because he's presenting.
So Hank's going with the club and sub.
Yeah, he won't have anything to worry about on the ground either. He's choked out crotch sniffers before. Shout out to you, JSP. You're not GSP, buddy. You're a few letters afterwards. You're JSP. Everybody's going to remember you for that. He won't. So he's choked out crotch sniffers. Ask Pierce. Brito's a future contender, and I don't think that Shore is, unfortunately. Even though I like Shore, I like the way he fights. I think he's solid and he's technical and he's good on the ground. But Shore's not a contender against this guy. This guy, the Brito Water is the contender, plain and simple. Plus, Joe Anderson's first name is a combination of Jones and Anderson, so he's a future featherweight GOAT. Trust.
I thought it was Joan and Anderson, but
it's Joe Anderson. But if you combine it with Jones and you combine it with Anderson, he's like Jones and Anderson Silva. So they was trying to tell us this whole time we need to trust these parents who name their kids these way because they know that in the future there's some fighters that they have no clue about they're going to replicate in the name. I just know it.
Understandable. Yeah. And I would like to see him get a KO, but also on the other hand, like I think it's a good match, and I would like to see Shore, continue his momentum after that loss.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope they keep Shore in the UFC. I hope they're just like, oh, Brito smashed him. Oh, you're gone. Go back to cage.
Oh, I think they will. I don't think he'll get cut if he loses here for sure. No. But we move on to Paul Craig versus Kyle Braulio. Kyle Braulio is on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC, beating the likes of Omar Gadzhiev, Armen Petrosian, Mahmoud Muradov, Michael Oleksiejczuk, which he submitted, and Abus Magomedov, who, funny story about that fight with Sean Strickland. I think that was a trick fight. Mm-hmm. They tricked us. And because Ikram Aliskerov, I think he fought around the same time, or he was booked to fight like after, and I think they were trying to trick us. Kind of like when Tank Davis fought Hector Garcia before he fought Ryan Garcia. So when you see Tank Davis versus Garcia, you go, "Oh yeah, I know that." Anyway, on the other side, we got the man from Scotland, Paul Craig.
You sort of look like if you cut here and there.
I look nothing like Paul Craig, but thank you.
I see.
Who he had a win over Nikita Krylov 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then loses a fight to Volkan Ozdemir. How do you lose to Volkan Ozdemir at this stage in the game? He gets KO'd by Johnny Walker. I mean, to me, no shame in that.
He should have been subbing Volkan by triangle. If you're going to triangle anybody, it's going to be Volkan Ozdemir.
Right. he gets the KO against Andre Muniz, which was kind of a shocker. And then he gets submitted by Brendan Allen. So this is like a super – Paul Craig is a super middleweight, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like middleweight's a terrible division. It just is. And when you're a middleweight, anything can happen in that cage, right? So I think the only way that Braulio loses this fight is if he has a lapse of judgment and stoops his IQ level to a very low plane, like Paul Craig does. So you can't argue with a retard because they'll just pull you down to their level, right? So
yeah, exactly. We gotta
outside of that,
as the guy from Tropic Thunder would say, you never go full retard. So
outside of that, I got Kaio getting a knockout in this fight.
Wow.
I think it could go to decision, but I think Kaio's ready for this spot. This is one of the better names that he'll have fought on his resume, even though I'm not respecting Paul Craig probably as I should. But he's just shown that you just can't trust this guy when it comes to making picks. So
nor can you most of the middleweights, but you can trust the prospects. At least most of them. Maybe not Bruno Silva, though. So my opinion on this fight is that Barajo is a BJJ fight nerd, so he ain't getting caught in a triangle, folks. He's too smart. He's got the glasses on his eyes. Lady! Oh, don't put me in that triangle, Craig. I'm going to put you in an armbar. Oh, gee whiz. So I think Craig is washed at this point. I don't think he presents anything on the feet. He has sort of a glass chin at this point, but he's always sort of had a glass chin.
Yeah.
Barajo's a great prospect, and he also looks like Mac Tonight. Do you remember that 1980s ad with the big moon man on the piano who was advertising? He's got like sunglasses on and a big ass smile on his face, and he's like, "Grr." And like whenever you look at like a Barajo podcast, whether it's after he made weight or during an LFA commentary, a commentary for a show, he did commentary on LFA their last couple of shows. He's got the sunglasses on. He's always like, and he's got like his lips go up. You can see like the gums, you know. Like someone put like two pliers and put it between them. So he's got a great smile. I like him a lot. He's got charisma, which is why they're putting him on these commentary booths, because that guy can talk for 4 hours and still be interesting.
Kind of like us.
Exactly. Yeah. 4 hours. I'd love to do that. I'm telling you, I'm dying out here. They show me no respect at all.
By the way, thank you, Western Mass. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Western Mass, he's been around for a majority of our streams so far. And whenever he's in there, he's got nothing but positive things to say. And whenever he chats,
except for when he compared you to a woman from Star Trek, or what was it, Star Trek or something?
Yeah, but you know what? She was a 6 out of 10. She's a 6. So I'll take a 6. Hey, that's a good score in the Anthony Fantano world when he reviews albums. So. He gave My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a 6 out of 10. And you know what? I'm a masterpiece too. Trust. So I think he should treat him like Allen did him and take him down, beat him up, and basically deny every single sub attempt that Craig throws up over 3 rounds. And I think he's going to grind his way to a decision win, unfortunately. This might be the Scotsman's last fight before he gets cut. I sort of hope so at this point. The man is sort of wasted in UFC in both divisions. I see him in a ONE FC grappling competition, or you know those UFC Fight Pass cards where they do like a bunch of submission matches. Yeah, I like to see him in that.
So I don't understand why you're so quick to cut people. Explain that to me.
I saw this Twitter page that basically showed all the UFC roster and which ones got added to the roster and which ones got taken out of the roster. And I'm just seeing these guys that are coming off 2 losses and they're just getting cut immediately. I'm seeing guys canceling their fights and then even coming off a win and then they lose and then they're gone.
I just disagree with Paul. I mean, obviously, let's see how the fight goes, and especially off of a decision loss to a guy who has 5 fights in a row in the UFC.
Right.
Also getting a knockout win over Andre Muniz only 9 months ago.
Yeah, not bad.
To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. My computer.
They probably won't, but I feel like he's going to go on a losing streak after this, especially if
sure. This could set up his eventual cut. But I think that losing a decision to a prospect like Kaio is not means to get cut. Me personally,
if they keep him, I think he's going to be the next GM3 at middleweight.
Yeah, but I mean, look at GM3, man. He loses a lot of fights, and they still got him around, and he still gets wins. So
it's always.
Yeah, I mean, wait. Has Paul Craig versus GM3 been made yet? Maybe if he loses this one, that's the next one.
That should get made. That's the ultimate come from behind third round submission contest. And then just watch Craig just knock him out within 5 seconds, GM3 style.
Right, well, this is why I say he's a middleweight. It's like anything could happen in a fight with Paul Craig, man. Like, he could knock out Muniz, or he could just get smoked. Or what? Break Jamal Hill's arm.
Arm into jelly, yeah. And when he had that yee-ass haircut, yee-ass era Jamal Hill. So, yeah, he can do, and he can submit freaking Magomed Ankalaev. Give him the title shot. At middleweight, I don't care. He submitted the number one contender. That should apply to both divisions. I like Paul Craig. I like his personality, especially when he wins. I enjoy Paul Craig, but I just feel like everybody and their mother has figured out his style. And so they're going to take him down. They're going to make sure he doesn't latch up their arm. And then I just feel like Barajo isn't going to submit him with the kind of technique that Brendan Allen did. I feel like Barajo's a little bit too slow to do that, in my opinion. He's got power, but he doesn't have the speed or I think, fight IQ that Allen does. So I feel like he's going to find his way to a decision for this one. But I hope that they put him up against a striker or somebody who's really agile and powerful on the ground so that Barajo can get a sub or can get a knockout, because I like this kid and I want him to have some momentum. I hope.
And remind me, what does the tattoo on his neck say?
Free spirit.
Yeah, that's aggressive. That's aggressive, man.
That's like Darren Elkins level of I have this all over me.
Right.
Yeah. So watch out for him. He's going to be the next Darren Elkins.
So are you rooting for Paul Craig, Isha, and how do you have him getting it done? I'm curious.
Let's get City Life Project on the podcast. Come on down. I mean, should we? Like, if Isha says yes, I could send him a StreamYard link.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Isha's probably editing up some shit, or
he's conked out. He's trying the brand new beer that has marijuana and cocaine.
Yeah, let's give Isha a break, man. He deserves it. Let us give you some entertainment, Isha, for all the entertainment you give us, man. We appreciate
it. Isha, if you do join the stream, you got to keep the noise down, okay? It's late. The children are sleeping, and so I just need you to keep it down.
Right? I see. Yeah.
I need you to take of objects and start to like ring them together while whispering slowly about how cool it is. You need some.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch for Paul Craig to win too. But again, middleweights, man, anything can happen.
Yeah, you never count out Paul Craig, although I am doing that. So I guess I'm counting out Paul Craig. Anyway, let's see what's next. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, go ahead and scroll up because I'm getting my shit fucking died. So
sure. All right. Next up, we got the ultimate welterweight weight bully, Michel Pereira, versus the winning Ukrainian, Ihor Potieria. This one is another no-brainer. I'll jump on soon for sure, but am literally finishing my stretches, then gonna Z. Well, it looks like you call on top of being a great MMA predictor, Idaho Skatesman, you predicted Isha's situation perfectly. So credit to you. You're going to win Tapology in the future, brother. You're a good social psychologist. So with Michel Pereira, if Pereira doesn't starch Ihor Potieria within, let's say, 5 seconds, I think I'll be greatly disappointed. Ihor is awful and loses to every prospect with a pulse, unless that prospect doesn't have power in his punches. And in that case, Ihor barely edges his way to a win, as he did against his last opponent. He finished Shogun Rua, and now it's time for revenge from his Brazilian brethren, Michel Pereira. You never get away with these things in Game of Thrones, Ihor. The Brazilians send their regards from Shogun Rua. So Michel, he does breakdancing in his spare time, a side hustle. You can often see him doing a 180 on the streets. spinning himself around and jumping up in the air like a ballerina. He's treated his last 2 middleweight fights like he's been doing the tango with his opponents, and it's been working gangbusters. He is so smooth and so agile in the octagon. It's like he was born for that kind of style in the cage. He's going to be a problem once he gets into the middleweight rankings. I think he fights like he was born for the weight class. He doesn't have to start levitating above the cage to do it either, although he tries. He tries to get 7 feet in the air, and I have to applaud him for it. He destroyed Andre Petroski, and he destroyed Mikhail Zajac like he had left the stove on back in Brazil. Like he had to get there really quick, within 5 seconds. His power and his technique is next level, up a weight class, and I think Ihor will have zero answers for his pure kinetic energy in the octagon. Mikhail is a legit... I think Michelle is going to one-punch KO this guy.
You just said Mikhail and Michelle.
I know. As I was typing...
What's his name?
I mistook the A for the E.
I thought it was Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle, my belle, piano song. I think he's going to one-punch knock out this fool like it's an anime, and he's wearing a cape with a bald head, and he's going to glide around like it's Disney on Ice. And he's going to leave him frozen like Elsa. I got all the similes for you. Trust. Ihor's going to be... Ihor's going to be out of the UFC with this loss. They're going to cut him after this one. And
yeah, I don't even know why they signed him in the first place.
Because he's Ukrainian and they need that fan base right now. All right. These are tough times. Okay. They need something to watch. Okay.
Sure.
He's going to be cut. I couldn't be happier because he killed Shogun. So I'll always hate him. Shogun says hello, you filthy animal. Merry Christmas.
I mean, in that same vein, are you always going to hate God, what is his fucking name? The guy who iced fucking Edgar.
Oh, wait, the guy who not Chris Gutierrez?
Yeah. Are you always going to hate Gutierrez?
I respect him for giving Song Yadong troubles. I'm glad that he showed his talent in that case and didn't need to just...
So you're mad that Shogun lost to a Ukrainian can, basically?
Yes, I am mad about that.
Understandable.
Because it's like going out to Marab.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ihor as a plus 475 underdog, so, you degenerate gamblers out there, that might look tasty to you, but I don't really see a method to victory. I don't think that Michelle's going to slow down like he did at 170, at 185, because let's be honest, 170 is a pretty tough weight class. Mm-hmm. But 185 is not. So just about anytime you get a 70er moving up to 85, they look pretty good.
Usually, yeah. It's a great weight class to move up to.
That's 100%.
How Robert Whittaker became a world champion.
100%.
It seems like Colby is the only fighter on the planet Earth who can easily make 170 as like a natural 170 guy. He says he barely cuts weight for that.
Well, preview to our draft, I think that Colby would be better as a 65er, but he's a tweener to me. But yeah, Michelle's going to get this done by knockout. I don't really see how he doesn't knock this guy out. Of course, I'm going the third round just to be safe.
Yeah,
as I do.
Gotta have that round 3 Idaho knockout.
We then move on.
Pereira's gonna put him out easy. I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah. We then move on to everybody's favorite fighter, Anthony Smith. Is gonna fight.
Paper, everybody loves him. On paper, everybody loves him.
I don't love Anthony Smith. He sucks.
Not even on paper?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
He's going to fight Vitor Petrino, a guy who retired Tyson Pedro, a guy who knocked out Modestus Bukalkas, and submitted Marcin Prachnio. And he beat the Pleasure Man, which we all just love the Pleasure Man, right?
Yeah, especially when he comes to town and he starts spending his money in my wares.
It's like a toss up between who's your favorite fighter, the Pleasure Man or Anthony Smith, right? Mm-hmm. And I love this comment. Only Diego Sanchez can beat Michelle Pereira, 100%, and only when Joshua Fabia is his coach.
Yeah, specifically Fabi.
Now, Anthony Smith is a plus 425 underdog. I think that's a little wide, personally, though I do obviously have Vitor Petrino knocking out Anthony Smith. It's the high-level experience that Anthony Smith has that gives me a little bit of pause. And I don't think that, like, picking Anthony Smith to win is the worst decision ever. The problem is Vitor Petrino is kind of just a tank and a bruiser. I think there's no other way, other than getting the knockout. But again, Anthony Smith, though I do not like him, and I don't really wish he was in the UFC, especially recently, he's been pissing me off, which might be his angle to pretend that he has a chance against Alex Pereira, saying he'd stand and trade with him. I think that might be an angle, or it might just be Anthony Smith delusion. We're all attacking his family every time we talk bad about him, and those veneers aren't cheap, so he's got to keep fighting. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and like make a case for Anthony Smith, but I also think that I don't
know Idaho. He seems like a likable guy. I've been with him on my podcast, buddy. And he seems like he's always.
I just think the line is a little disrespectful, personally.
Oh, he doesn't have a lion heart, you think?
No, I said the betting line.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, in my opinion. That's
I think it's a little disrespectful, but Anthony Smith kind of brings it on itself. So,
yeah. So let's see what I thought of the situation. Here we go. I'm sort of a pessimist when it comes to finishers getting finishes. With Petrino, the thing. On paper, Petrino looks like he would starch Piglet Orc hybrid Smith. He's a roid freak. He's got good submissions. He has crazy power and so on and so forth. He seems more like Vitor Belfort than Vitor Petrino. But if he doesn't wobble his opponents immediately on the feet or get them down for the entire round, I think his finishing potential sort of nosedives. And usually he ends up grinding his way to a decision. Just ask Tyson Pedro how that went. Oh, wait, he's out of the UFC. Never mind. Just like a bunch of fighters that lose to prospects. I don't think that Petrino finishes Smith like Roundtree did. I think Roundtree is like a Muay Thai fighter in disguise at light heavyweight. I just feel like Petrino, he has one punch power, but if he doesn't make the reads, like he's not going to find it for a very long time. He does get the better of the family man though in the striking. He doesn't have the negative fight IQ of low attention span, if you know what I'm saying. He'll be good enough to dominate Smith, but I don't think he's going to crack his hard head. This will be a largely boring affair with a few oohs and ahs in between when Petrino does something. But I think he's not going to be like an Alex Pereira in light heavyweight, even though Smith desperately wants to fight Alex Pereira. He's not going to be the one punch finisher for every single fight, in my opinion. And this is going to be one of them where Smith, I just don't see Vitor Petrino on the same level of fight IQ and power that Roundtree is. So he's mostly just going to be going back and forth with Smith and getting the better of him. And then Smith is going to say, well, I'm going to go from number 13 to fighting John Jones. I'll find my way back.
Yeah, well, if he gets that one back, we all know he's going to win.
Right, Anthony. You got the heart of a lion, buddy, and you're such a likable guy. You'll find your way up there. I believe in you, Anthony.
I'm one side of my face isn't working, Bisping.
Don't worry, I lost my eye, and I won the title with it.
Anyway, I watched too much Believe You and Me. Jay got me hooked. Damn you, Jay.
Believe You and Me?
Believe You and Me, buddy.
Oh, I thought you said Believe You and Me. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it sounds like
I used to watch that podcast, but I just kind of tuned out. It's kind of annoying at this point. But
yeah,
Bisping is an entertaining guy, as is our friend Hank the Tank here.
He's an entertaining guy.
Move on to our. This is the co-main event, right?
Mm-hmm.
The co-main event of Jonathan Martinez versus Joe-Say Aldo. As we all know, Joe-Say Aldo retired after the Marab loss. He then got on steroids, presumably some better steroids, and came back. This is a near even fight. Plus 120 for Jose Aldo, and minus 145 for Martinez as the favorite. Again, he made this weird decision to drop down to bantamweight, and he then got an immediate title shot against Petr Yan. He lost the fight to Marlon Moraes, which gave him the title shot against Petr Yan when he was still a champion, or maybe it was for the belt, the vacant belt. I can't remember.
The good old.
I think that was just after Dominic Cruz vacated, or Henry Cejudo vacated after beating Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, he's the GOAT already, man. He's the GOAT. He doesn't have.
He loses that fight in pretty bad fashion. He was hanging with Petr Yan till Yan TKO'd him. He then just literally beat the hell and gave like a kickboxing lesson to Chito Vera, which I found very impressive.
Every single fighter should do that to Chito Vera in a good world, in a good and honest world. It just makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean,
his leather face is the only thing keeping him around.
Yeah, I mean, Vera loses the fight till he wins, which is pretty awesome to watch. But
it's fun. It hasn't happened in a while, though.
Yeah. He then gets the decision win over Munoz. Kind of did more of the same to Rob Font, too. Just kind of schooled these dudes. And then he gets grinded out to Merab. So when he retired, people were already kind of speculative. I don't think that Jose Aldo wanted to go out like that. So I guess it's good that he's getting this fight, but to me, it just doesn't make sense for him to fight anybody other than Dominic Cruz. We then move over to our guy, Jonathan Martinez, who has been on quite the run. TKOing Cub Swanson, getting a win, surviving the grappling of Saeed Nurmagomedov, and knocking out Yanez with leg kicks. So we got a 30-year-old from Texas versus the 37-year-old King of Rio. I don't think you can really go wrong with whatever pick you pick in this fight. I think that it's a valid pick either way. I think it's a close fight, but I'm gonna go ahead and ride with Aldo in this fight to get it done by decision. I think it's a close match, but again, I could see Jonathan getting the win as well. So I don't think you can go wrong picking either which way in this one.
Why don't you open up my letter, Gene? Oh, what do you know? We have the exact same pick. Who would have believed it? That's right. I'm going with my heart here. And I'm going with my head as well. Not just my heart. This is a logical decision. Hear me out. Aldo gave Merab the fight of his life. Toughest fight he had before Henry did. And
what?
He also beat Font. He beat Munoz.
The fight of his life?
Well, up to this point. Well, I mean, obviously there was Marlon Moraes who almost destroyed him. But I'm saying beyond Marlon Moraes, beyond Henry Cejudo, he was giving Merab some troubles in terms of, I can't finish this guy. I can't take him down. He's piecing me up a little bit here and there. So it shows that.
Let me butt in. Let me butt in for a second. I think the biggest factor in that fight too, in either way for either guy, right, was that it was in Salt Lake City. I think that really kind of fucked up the whole fight. Really, like we didn't get the best of either guy that night.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the height elevation, the high elevation for Utah, it did probably have an impact on his fight, as it did probably every single fight that was happening on the card, as well as every single card in Mexico. That's why Cain Velasquez lost his title. Aldo, he looked like a lot of opponents look like when Merab gets him up against the fence and knees them over and over again and just spams takedowns. And there's no shame in losing in that fashion. He got caught just like every single person's been caught in his little snare trap, in his bear trap. And for every other opponent who's just on the feet with him, he's either put them away or he's dominated them to decisions, just as he's done pretty much his entire career. He's not 40 yet. I'm pretty sure he's like 37, right?
Yeah, 37.
37. And, Nate Diaz was 36, 37 on the way out. And he was still putting a hell of a fight against good guys. And also Aldo's been beating guys by decision in Shooto Brazil and training his boxing. And he it's not like he's coming off the couch for this fight. He's had practice. He's had good boxing. And I remember I was seeing sources, predictors who were saying that, he's going to get back into MMA and it'll just be like water. It'll just flow right, like a fish to water. He'll get back into the MMA kind of fight style. He's just been doing it his entire life. And I feel like Aldo's going to have good leg kick defense compared to Adrian frickin' Yanez. I feel like he still has it on the feet. Better than Yanez. I think he's going to piece up Martinez in the boxing department, and I feel like those strikes will end up making the difference for each round more than the leg kick battle will. And if I don't think he's going to necessarily win the leg kick battle against Jonathan Martinez, but he's going to keep it close. He's not just going to get chewed up entirely. Like that's his bread and butter. So he's going to find a way to keep those legs strong for all 3 rounds and safe. Aldo's the OG master of the leg kicks. He'll know how to keep his legs safe. Eventually, I think he's going to grind out a 29-28 decision. This is not going to be a 30-27. I don't disrespect Jonathan Martinez that much. In fact, I think he's a great prospect, and I think he's excellent on the feet. And he's beaten Dagestanis before, so I got to give him credit for that too. But I think the roof will come off the place when they announce Jose Aldo as the winner by decision.
Yeah.
They're going to be more beer bottles hitting Martinez in the head this time, and that's good for Martinez's health in the long run.
I think that the Nate Diaz comparison doesn't really work because we're talking about 2 different weight classes. I think bantamweight being 37 is just a brutal thing. Though we are talking about Jose Aldo, and when you talk about the leg kick battle, don't forget that Jose Aldo has gotten away from leg kicks in recent years.
Yeah. He's kept it in the boxing, and he's been doing well.
Exactly. And I mean, again, I think this is a 50-50 fight, damn near. And I don't know if it's like Jonathan Martinez's toughest test, but it's definitely like
a tough test.
It's a tougher test than the Cub Swanson match. For sure. And I like Jonathan Martinez. I like watching him fight. He's a really unassuming guy. Doesn't say much. Just gets in there and fights, man. So I think it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to this one. Our main event, Pantoja versus Alex Pants versus Stevie Vincenzo Urseg. That is his middle name, by the way.
Nice.
So we all know the story of this fight. Alexandre has no one to fight, basically, at flyweight, and they're giving it to Urseg after knocking out Snell after only a few fights. So, I don't know. I don't really think that this is like a super anticipated match. I think it's weird matchmaking, but also kind of understandable matchmaking. I don't know. This is a weird fight to me, man. Pantoja's a zombie. He's going to keep moving forward the whole fight, and that could be his downfall in this match, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of where Urseg is inclined to catch him. But yeah, overall, man, I think this is a weird fight. Not the most anticipated main event. I ain't paying money for this. Yeah, I mean, I think Pantoja gets it done. I don't know if he finishes Steve Urseg. But yeah, I mean, do I think Steve Urseg could catch Pantoja? Yeah, I do. I think it's possible. But I'm gonna go with the champ. I think he's gonna get it done. What say you, my friend?
He's gonna shock the world, in my opinion. I was talking about beer bottles getting thrown at guys who beat the Brazilian champions or the Brazilian veterans. That's what's happening to Steve Carell Urseg after I think that he dominates Pantoja on Saturday. I am an Urseg believer. I think he has great grappling as well as great counter grappling. Like, people think that his chief weapon is his punching because they saw the Schnell fight and they saw the Alessandro Costa fight before that. But his chief weapon is his grappling. He's gone from being on bottom to being on top on the ground. He has fully reversed guys who have taken him down to the ground and ended up dominating on top. This man is a top all day, every day. And I think being able to counter Pantoja's grappling is actually the key to beating him. Like if you can actually get up or find a way for him to be on bottom, you're going to win that round, in my opinion. And if you can keep on the feet and keep treating Pantoja's face like it's target practice, like it's a heavy bag, like you're going to win that round. All you have to be afraid of is that Pantoja hits you with a big overhead right, and then just keeps you down and lays on you, carpet bags you like Makayev, which is, it's sad that he didn't take the Makayev fight because they're both so similar in a way. But
I could see that. I think that would be a decent match for sure.
Yeah. So again, people being able to counter his grappling is going to be his kryptonite. Moreno was able to get out every now and then and just start piecing him up. Also, Urseg's actually taller, I believe, than Pantoja's, or at least around like the same height. And so, like, once he deals with guys that are bigger and are able to get out of the grappling, like they start to let him have it on the feet. I think Urseg has done counter grappling in basically every fight where that's gone to the ground. Urseg, I think, is clearly the better striker. He's so composed. He picks his shots easily, stays at range, and he has power in his fists, as every other flyweight besides Alex Perez apparently has shown. Like, most of the flyweights are keeping these guys down to the ground and going to close decisions. Urseg's the only one now in the top 15 besides Perez, who got a brutal knockout. So I think I wouldn't say he fully earned it, but I'd say with the situation in the rankings and how impressive the top 15 was, I'm not mad that they made this fight, because in my opinion, like, it sells. If anything, it sells now because people have made memes of this and basically made Urseg a really likable guy and sort of a funny character to root for. I think interest has definitely increased over time since this announcement, but it looks strange on paper, Anthony Smith style. But again, he finished a guy. A bunch of the flyweight guys didn't. In fact, I think Makayev pretty much almost lost to Alex Perez. So I wouldn't have a guy who's having a sort of arguable decision getting a title shot. Nor would I have Royval get the rematch immediately after he got bodied by Pantoja. So in my opinion, it makes sense. And now it's a way more fun matchup now that it's the night before the fight. Pantoja's face is a complete punching bag in almost every fight he's ever been in. And his big overhead strikes won't be putting Urseg away, I think, anytime soon, even though Urseg looks like the kind of guy that you would expect to be KO'd easily just by looking at him. He's got the little rat face. But then again, Emir Albazi has never been knocked out. He's a rat face, so he didn't get knocked out.
The disrespect.
I'm sorry. He robbed Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France should have been up at number 2, number 3, and now he's been forced to just pretend to fight Manel Cap for the rest of his days. He's been banished to Manel Cap purgatory.
Yeah, they really want to give him that push, man.
They're hoping, but it's just not going to happen. At least not not in his lifetime. Pantoja will look like a heavy bag on the feet and then look like a fool on the ground, in my opinion. When Urseg turns his crotch sniffing right over and starts pounding away on him, I think he's going to reverse him pretty easily. And I know that his coaches are going to be practicing getting the underhooks and turning him around. I feel like Urseg, like, grappling is his bread and butter. Like, he's a really good wrestler. I think that Prison Mike will never, ever give up. And he will destroy the Dementors when they're trying to get into your body and suck your soul out at height. He's going to beat the Dementor in his own hometown of Azkaban. And, hey, man, listen. Urseg is sending Pantoja back to Uber. Trust. He's going to make him be an Uber driver.
And it's so weird. I didn't know that people thought that Pantoja was a can until this fight got announced. It's so weird.
Yeah. I don't think that Pantoja's a can. In fact, he's beaten pretty much every single person in the flyweight division who has a pulse. But I just feel like Steve Urseg has a style that perfectly counters Pantoja's style. And if he finds a way to reverse the grappling, I think this is going to be a pretty easy decision.
I mean, you literally said he's a punching bag. Like,
I said that Pantoja was a punching bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know people thought that Pantoja was a can until this fight got announced. That's what I'm saying.
Just because he's a punching bag doesn't mean that he's a can. I'm saying that his face is a magnet for fists with his opponents. He's got an incredible.
Yeah, like dude's a zombie. Like he just plots forward the entire fight every time. It's actually insane the pace that he puts on people.
He's got a Marlon Vera level chin. He's got the Max Holloway chin. All right, you can just hit him with anything and he ain't going down. But it can be visible damage when guys are piecing him up. And I feel like if Usyk keeps it on the feet and doesn't get subbed, he's going to show visual damage on Alexandre Pantoja. And for those rounds that he's reversing him, he's going to win those rounds. He's gonna win.
And I was trying to address Isha's comment here. Like, so Perez deserves the belt because why? Like, I need you to explain that to me. Pantoja is clearly the rightful title holder. I don't get this comment.
I think he's trying to follow my logic that the guy who got a knockout should be given the title fight immediately.
I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Funny. But
yeah,
in all seriousness, I feel like Usyk is going to be a problem, and he has a style that's really good against a guy like Pantoja. So I feel like he's not going to win it by a landslide, but he's going to win it just barely, like Pantoja did Moreno, and just do enough good work against his grappling to eke out a decision. And new flyweight champion of the world, Steve Usyk, and I feel like he's gonna have a few good defenses too if he wins. Guy's really solid and consistent. I feel like most of the flyweight boxers are starting to really break down in terms of their boxing. And Moreno and Royval and Nicolau now, and Cap is probably not going to look as good. And remember, he almost lost a decision to Felipe Dos Santos. Cap almost lost to Dos Santos.
Yeah, super short notice fight that Cap just kind of came in swinging for.
Yeah, exactly. But I think these flyweight, fighters aren't the best on the feet anymore, and I think that's going to be Usyk's world.
Sure.
As well as on the ground. He's just all around great. I think he's a flyweight Leon Edwards in a way.
Did you make picks for the Canelo card?
I made a pick.
Okay.
A lock. Give me one second.
That's it for the UFC. So I'm gonna get into my picks for the Canelo undercard. We'll quickly go through them. What's that?
There you go. You just showed a pick that I am in full agreement with.
Yeah, so Vito Melnicki Jr. is a guy who he always gets the showcase. It's like a Floyd Diaz, a Richard Torres, Xander Zayas, Berlanga until recent, Munguia even. Just one of these guys that they put on the card to get a showcase, get it done. Melnicki, East Coast guy, New Jersey guy. Take it easy, Isha. We're talking boxing, so I understand why you're out, man. Get some rest, dude. Rest up for tomorrow, and we'll catch you on the city life, man. Thank you for joining us, dude. I really appreciate it. So he's going up. He's a 21-year-old going up against a 32-year-old with a 19-3 record. Which, again, this is how boxing works, right? Doesn't look bad on paper, right? But
Anthony Smith would agree with that assessment.
I mean, look at this. I just mentioned Xander Zayas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, who he has a loss to 10 months ago. And Xander took him to decision, which is good. But, again, Vito is a different style than Xander. Xander's a quick guy, and Melnicki's more like a bruiser, I would say. If we just look at his recent fights, man, like this guy's fighting all the time, and he's getting knockouts, So
yeah,
and that's kind of how Xander is, but Xander's just a little bit smaller, faster guy with a little less power. So
yeah, for sure,
I got Melnicki to get it done inside of 6 rounds. That round might be off, but I definitely think he'll get the KO here, and he'll kind of upstage Xander Zayas, and it'll be a good showcase for him.
Yeah, as you can see with my screen, I had the exact same thought process that you did. I feel like Mielnicki's a great prospect, hard hitter, bruiser, and Ronald Cruz has lost to 0-0 guys, which makes him a 0-1, 0-2. It's a clear markup for Mielnicki, a can for him to crush, someone to just elevate him and put a few more ones on his record so that he looks cool going into the rankings. And then eventually they'll give him a tough guy, but even then, these prospects are given title fights against cans as well. So you might see a few belts being put on this kid in his next 5 or 6 fights. But he's a talented prospect. I'm not going to deny his talent, but this is clearly a fight for him to win.
100%. Yeah, just a showcase fight on an undercard of a big card. So I'll give you my next pick. It's the Stanionis fight. Now, Stanionis is defending his WBA regular welterweight title. Wrap your head around that one. Which he won on the undercard of Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, I believe.
Maybe.
Stanionis is a good boxer, solid boxer, hence why he's holding the WBA regular welterweight title. Sorry, I just always laugh at these regular titles. Like, what's a regular title? Anyway,
it's the title that they fight for on regular show. You know, those wrestlers and those muscle men. And
well,
boxers.
Really what it is it's just another way for the commissions to steal money from fighters.
Fun.
But yeah, I mean, the weird thing about this fight is we got Stanionis 14-0 fighting a guy who's 6-0 for a belt. 6-0-1, sorry, for a belt.
Yeah,
it's really strange.
That one is going to guarantee his loss.
Right, and you know, the biggest thing is Stanionis is 29. His opponent's 37. Stanionis has had a 2-year layoff, which I do not understand why. Now, boxing is weird with promoters and getting fights. There doesn't seem to be enough cards for these guys to fight on. But yeah, I think Stanionis wins this fight handily. Yeah. I don't know too much about him. I haven't seen too many of his fights. And also he has a draw to Luis Collazo due to accidental headbutt and a decision win to Delorme 3 years ago, mind you, when Delorme still had a pulse. But a guy who Virgil just iced last week. You know, so it's a weird fight. And, you know, I think I'm going to give a little more faith to Stanionis, and I'm going to pick him to get a knockout. And I'm just going to go safe. Going to go the 6th. Actually, I'll go the 8th round, just to call it there. Yeah. But I
think we're at the 2-hour mark. If you can find some fights that are like highlights or ones that you think are going to be exciting or like memorable, maybe you could go through.
Yeah,
those
I'm just going to run through the rest of the card. There's only a couple more fights on it. Okay. Do you have any other picks for this card?
I have a pick for the boxing card that comes after this one.
Oh, for Inoue. Gotcha. Yeah. So Brandon Figueroa versus Jesse.
My God. I think John Jones likes this guy. Actually, he likes both of them. Like, wow.
Okay.
He's into their style, you know.
I'm not getting the inside joke.
Well, he met them at the comedy club the other day. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Sorry, never mind.
No, I mean, explain it to me because I'm not getting it.
Well, it's just the clothing. They seem very like expressive. Let's just say. And Jones, at the comedy club, there was a bisexual to his left, and he was very interested in that person, and that's why the comedian pointed it out. And these two, like,
one guy's not wearing clothes. So.
Yeah, for sure, and the other guy's has very colorful clothing. But I just think that Jones would be in his car with the tinted windows, driving around on the sidewalk looking for these guys. Just say that.
So Brandon Figueroa is a boxer that I have seen fight a few times. Magdaleno is not a guy that I've seen fight, but he did lose a decision to Ray Ford, who is now a champion. He's a champion in this weight class now, so nothing wrong with that, and that was for a vacant belt. So to me, nothing wrong with that. No real shame in losing to him. On the other side, the Heartbreak Kid, Figueroa, knocked out Luis Neri 2 years ago, which is fucking insane.
Nice. He did what Inoue wants to do.
And then he had this just fucking amazing fight with Stephen Fulton, who we all know Inoue iced very quickly in Japan. But this was one of the best fights I've seen, man. Like this, nice. Oh my gosh. I love when boxers they don't clinch, but they like lock horns, as I say, and and they go up to each other like this, and they just stand in the pocket and just trade. It was an amazing fight.
That's a
He then
phone
beat
booth.
Carlos Castro, a good prospect, and then he beat Mark Magsayo for this. I thought it was
Was it a
Brandon
regular?
Figueroa is defending the interim WBC featherweight title, which is just really weird to me. But Magsayo is no joke, man. He's a Manny Pacquiao promoted guy from the Philippines and a big puncher too. So for Figueroa to get that decision win against him is pretty impressive. But ultimately, I'm picking this one to go to decision in a damn good fight.
So Figueroa's been basically relegated to a boxing Tony Ferguson, where he has to defend the interim championship all the time.
Well, that's just kind of how it goes in boxing, dude. I mean,
especially in boxing.
like I said in the fight previous with Stan Jonas, he's defending the regular belt. So again, it's literally just a way for the commissions to rip off the fighters because there's always sanctioning fees. So of course they want to attach sanctioning fees to every single fight they can, make up some sort of thing. And the WBC is probably one of the biggest sanctioning bodies when it comes to making up these random belts for people to defend.
Yeah.
So, but I do expect this to be a great fight. We then have Mario Barrios defending another interim. Sorry, it's just like it's so weird. He's defending another WBC interim title in the co-main event against Fabian Maidana, who is actually the son or maybe nephew of Marcos Maidana, a legend boxer. This is going to be a really good fight for as long as it lasts. 147 is when you start to see guys having some more power. But as you can see, Maidana kind of hasn't really had any wins over anyone of note.
Oh, God, he dealt with Israel.
And he's getting decision wins. Mario Barrios came on my radar when Tank Davis knocked him out, which was really strange. And that was actually for another like weird interim belt at 140. Super, super weird fight. He then had the unanimous decision loss to Keith Thurman, in which towards the end of that fight, Keith Thurman does this move that he always does now, where he spits out his mouthpiece and then to stall for time. So Mario Barrios was coming on in the end of that fight. He then got his last win to Ugas, who is a very respectable boxer. Got cooked by Errol Spence and cooked by Bud, but actually no, I don't think Bud's ever fought him. And then he had this weird fight with Manny Pacquiao, which should have never happened because Manny Pacquiao's washed. But beating Ugas is respectable. Going to decision with him, not as respectable, but that's what won him this weird interim title that he's defending. So I expect this to be a good fight, but I am going to pick Mario to get the decision win. We then move on to the main event. Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia.
Honestly, I wish this bout was changed to Canelo Alvarez versus
Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya. Yep.
Yeah.
And Garcia in a handicap match.
Well, they're already fighting in court, so that's fun. Oscar has just came out and put a defamation of character lawsuit against Canelo. So
that's definitely that ruling battle. That's more than 12 rounds, that's for sure.
Now, Canelo, his only losses are to Floyd Mayweather and to Dimitri Bivol. He has a draw to Golovkin. Canelo, to me, is a and this is controversial, but like he is the face of boxing for Mexico, and he is the most accomplished Mexican boxer of this current era. Whether he's an all-time great or he is one of the greatest Mexican boxers of all time, you be the judge of that. I think we should wait till his career's over to judge it fully. Yeah, but man,
and 62 fights and his KOs as well.
Yeah, 62-2 is a respectable record. On the other hand, we have Jaime Munguia, who has a 43-0 record, which is amazing for a guy who has fought absolutely nobody. His only time he actually fought a guy of note was the Derevyanchenko fight 10 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was a hell of a fight.
It was.
He then fought former Canelo Alvarez victim John Ryder. Immediately after Canelo boxed him. Actually, a month after Canelo boxed him, okay?
That's
and then he
fight right there.
Or actually, it wasn't a month. Sorry, it was like 6 months. But then the reason why this fight got made was because Canelo couldn't knock out John Ryder, and Munguia did after 3 or 4 knockdowns. So I think that 43-0, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Multiple grains of salt.
Munguia hasn't boxed anybody. But whatever your opinion on Canelo is, whatever your opinion on Jaime is,
there are plenty of them.
This fight is going to be great. It's going to be great for as long as it lasts.
It's going to be fun.
And I think that I'm actually going to put some money on Jaime. Not a lot, but just a little bit, enough that where I won't be mad if he loses. But I do pick Canelo on Tapology. I'm picking Canelo to get it done within 6 rounds. I think this is going to be a slug match, though. This is going to be a tough fight for both men.
Right. I'm sort of disappointed in you, Idaho. I thought you'd sprinkle money on the draw. It's a shame.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to look at the line for that. But the reason why I wouldn't is because this fight's going to end in a knockout, for sure.
Right. One or the other.
Yeah.
For sure. And if anyone's going to do it, maybe Canelo? Well, I mean, he's had his finishes, but he's also had his long decisions where he's knocked somebody down once and then the rest was just your standard affair. It's hard to tell with Canelo what the result of the fight's going to be.
The problem is that Jaime's not that kind of guy. Like, he's not going to – he's undefeated. He's knocking dudes out, no names out. And he knocked out John Ryder, who was, again, one of Canelo's last fights. And it wasn't like a super tough fight for Canelo. He outclassed John the whole time. But John's a guy that does not get knocked out.
Mm-hmm. So
and it was the first knockout loss of his career time in Munguia, which he retired immediately after. So he's long in the tooth. But, this fight's going to end in knockout for sure, man.
Yeah. You think that Jaime is going to buckle under pressure if Alvarez starts putting it on him?
So hard to say, man. He's never had a fight like this.
Right.
And Canelo, again, there's a lot of, and this is why I say, like, there's a lot of criticism for Canelo. I respect Canelo a lot, but I'm also a newer fan. So I didn't see those Golovkin fights that people call robberies. I don't think the
problems, even the robberies. I think right now it's just who he chooses to fight as his opponents for the belt, because everybody seems.
No, I understand. Yeah. We should talk about that. Like, he should be fighting David Benavidez. We all know it. But again, once you reach a certain point in the sport, you can do whatever you want, and that's Canelo, man. He's the man. I just said it. He should be fighting David Benavidez, but if we can't get that,
it's such a political affair.
This is somewhat of a respectable second option to me.
Okay. Eventually, he's going to run out, though, and he'll have to probably, or retire out and stop.
Probably not, dude, because he's got the Berlanga fight he can fight next. There's always the Bivol rematch that he seems to want. So yeah, man, I don't know how much longer Canelo's going to box for. I think he said that he wants to box until he's 35. So we got 2 more years of Canelo at least.
That'll be nice.
So do you have a pick for this fight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Canelo. What was the result of his last fight? Did he get a knockout or a decision? I'm pretty sure it was a decision.
It was a decision against Charlo, but he outclassed Charlo the entire time, and he knocked him down. And actually, Charlo didn't fight.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't fight.
You think that he went soft on him, or he tried to cover up and then
no, like literally Charlo got knocked down a couple times, and then he just literally ran for the whole fight, and he didn't throw punches.
Yeah. So you think that's the reason why he wasn't able to get the finish? Is that the other guys were trying to avoid?
Yeah, Charlo never opened up.
Do you think that's the same thing that's going to happen with Jamie, where he's going to start to get really afraid, or do you think he's a tough son?
Fuck no, because the reason why Charlo came in on short notice, I don't know if you know anything about the Charlo twins, but he came in on short notice to actually fill in for his brother. And he came from the weight class. He came from 154. He was the 154 unified champion, or actually, I think he was undisputed, or maybe he just didn't have one of the belts. So the short notice nature and the fact that Charlo has been knocked out before from Tony Harrison, so he just didn't want to get knocked out again, and I think that's really the whole point. Jaime's never been knocked out; he doesn't know what it's like to lose in that fashion. So I think he'll be in it till the very end.
Nice.
He's not afraid, and I think he's ready for this moment. But ultimately, Canelo, to me, is he's gonna get this done. But that's why I said I'm gonna put a little bit of money on Jaime Munguia to get it done as well. Just
how do you think he would get it done?
It's so hard to say, man. I think again, Canelo's never been knocked. I don't even think Canelo's been knocked down ever. He has an iron chin, man.
Not even by Benavidez.
That's a tough dude.
I think he got knocked down by Benavidez. I think he got knocked down.
No, Canelo's never fought Benavidez.
I mean, the guy that he wanted, Dimitri Bivol.
No, he didn't get knocked down by Bivol because Bivol's not a knockout or knockdown guy.
Okay, then he hasn't been knocked down by anybody.
No, but he took like what 12 punches in a row clean on the chin up against the ropes to fucking Bivol. But again, when we talk about, I'll just quickly get into the Benavidez fight. Like, if I'm Canelo, a lot of people, newer fans, don't know that Benavidez has lost his belt on the scale 2 times.
Yikes.
One time was on the scale for missing weight. The other time was he lost a belt due to a cocaine failure.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Looks
So
like
look.
it runs in the boxing family then.
So look, man, like, if I'm Canelo, I understand why he wouldn't want to fight a guy who has lost his belt on the scale twice in that matter. Right?
Why is it boxers that want cocaine specifically? I don't see this for other types of fighters. Like, it seems like a lot of big boxers end up using the powder.
Well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that, number one, they make more money. Number two, the drug testing isn't as stringent as it was for the past however many years with USADA. BADA testing is voluntary, but commission drug testing is not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like you have to get a drug test. And that's why he lost the belt on the scale, is because they tested him for cocaine.
Under the influence.
On fight week. Yeah. And then he lost the belt on the scale. So again, it's like, I can understand why Canelo doesn't want to take that fight. Right?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous fight, and a guy who may or may not make weight. Now, he's shown recently that he can, and he's been respectable his last few fights, but I can understand that. But then, to flip it, Canelo has failed for drug tests for clenbuterol in the past for steroids, right?
Haven't we all? Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's a good fight though. This is a banger fight, man. And I would like to see the Benavidez fight eventually, but I don't think it's going to happen now that we have Benavidez moving up to light heavyweight. I think he's fighting for like some interim title too. So
yeah. Do you want to run down the Inoue versus Neri card, or do you want to go right to the main event?
There's only I don't really know the other fights on there, but I do have some inside not inside, but I do have a story about the Inoue fight. So yeah,
do share.
I can go bring it up real quick. But yeah, give us your pick for that card while I pull this up.
I love the monster, man. I think he's my favorite boxer at the moment. Just because I love how technical he is. I love the power he has in his fists. I think he has a great gimmick, and he is intimidating in and outside the ring. I don't think he's ever failed a drug test or had a problem at the scale.
Because Japan's way too strict, bro. I'll get into that.
Yeah. And so I just think he's cleared through basically everybody and totally proven himself as a boxer. And I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time great boxers. If he keeps this up and he keeps defending his belt against opponents and just wanting the toughest matchups. Like, I respect him to the degree that I respect a Manny Pacquiao. So I hope that he keeps going for at least maybe like 3 or 4 more years. I think he's got a lot of fight in him. The question is whether he can have the same level of opponents as he's had before. I think that'll probably take a while. And over time, we might see the monster being more and more inactive over time as they try to salvage or put together some, actual challengers for the belt. But I love Inoue's fight style. He is a highlight reel machine. He's like the human highlight of the boxing world. And the only problem is that I have to stay up all night to watch him fight if he is in Japan. But that's the only con I can say about this guy. I don't think he's pound for pound number one. I think Terrence Crawford has that title right now, but I hope that one day Terrence loses the belt so that this man can rightfully take his place as the number one pound for pound boxer in the world, because I think he deserves absolute credit, and I think he deserves to be a bigger boxing star than he even is right now. I think he's fantastic. I think he's like my modern version of like watching Mike Tyson fight, except in my opinion, he's even more intelligent and technical than Mike. Now, I do think he got exposed a little bit in his last fight where he was getting pieced up and he wasn't finding his range or his shots, and the other guy was sort of putting it on him. But and let me look through his record to see who that guy was. Marlon Tapales. He finished him by round 10 knockout to show that shows that Tapales was putting in a good fight against him, and he's a tough ass guy from Latin America. And I told you about these Latin American boxers and combat athletes, that it's very hard to knock them down. But I am impressed that the monster was able to just hit him with enough punches and enough shots to the body that he crumbled. Again, when he's under pressure, Inoue makes the smart moves and he picks his shots very well. He doesn't always get reckless, and he finds the finish any way that he can. He's sort of like a Shavkat when it comes to boxing. He finds a way to get the finish. And so I think it's going to be the same thing here with Luis, who has basically been fed nothing but cans on his way to the top. Guys who are 18-5, 17-3. You know, these guys are going to lose to other boxers besides Neri. And so I think sort of like the Tapales fight, he's going to give Inoue his problems on the feet in the first 2 or 3 rounds. And then Inoue is just going to slowly pick him apart. And hopefully he gets a bigger, more exciting KO than his last one. He just takes his head off his shoulders and vintage monster. That's what I'm looking forward to. I appreciate Inoue to the same degree that you appreciate Canelo.
I don't appreciate Canelo like that, honestly. Look, man. So I'll get into the story of this fight, and then I'll cook Inoue. So in Japan, there has been 2 Japanese boxers who have reached 12 title defenses in this weight class. One lost to the other, and then he went on a 12 title defense streak. Then the belt got passed to this guy named Shinsuke, who fought Luis Neri in Japan, and Luis Neri missed weight for the fight. He then knocked out Shinsuke at 11 title defenses, so he was not able to reach his 12, like the Japanese people wanted to, complete their story.
Grand destiny.
Yeah. So then Luis Neri has a rematch with him, which is kind of unheard of in Japan, because if you miss weight in Japan, you get a 1-year suspension. Hence why, again, Inoue doesn't have any drug test failures or weight misses, right? Now look, just the eye test in Inoue, he might be on some juice, but again, who isn't? But
everybody's on steroids. Everybody's on steroids.
Yep. So Inoue, or Shinsuke gave him the rematch in Japan, and then that's when Luis Neri popped and got his lifetime ban. So Inoue is the most accomplished Japanese boxer in recent memory, and that's why they're hoping that he executes Inoue for this revenge plot of Japan. Now, on to Inoue. Look, there's a boxer who, in these weight classes, is probably the greatest boxer of all time that nobody ever talks about. His name is Ricardo Lopez. Okay, Ricardo Lopez never lost an amateur fight. He went 51-0. Okay, we're talking about a guy who literally never lost a fight and never even probably had a controversial fight. Okay, so people talk about Naoya Inoue like he is Manny Pacquiao,
Like God's
it's
great.
it's kind of disgusting, honestly, because Inoue really hasn't accomplished that much, though he has moved up in weight, such as Manny Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm.
He has never had any fights that can even come close to the level of Manny Pacquiao's fights.
True.
And not only that,
do you think that's because of the quality of the weight division?
Well, again, Manny Pacquiao moved all the way up to like damn near middleweight for fights.
So you think that Inoue needs to clear?
Pacquiao has the most. He's like won belts in the most amount of weight classes of any boxer in history.
Yeah, makes him
only other boxer you could really compare is Tommy Hearns, who's actually on this poster back here. Tommy Hearns won belts from 140 all the way up to cruiserweight. Again, he had a slugfest with a 40-year-old Nonito Donaire. Now, to his credit, a year or two later, he iced Nonito Donaire. And again, Inoue is a skilled boxer. He has a lot of power for lighter weight classes, and that's why he's fun. Ricardo Lopez was a tactician, right? With probably the best jab in history, right? Outside of Larry Holmes, maybe.
Right. I think Inoue's pretty smart when it comes to picking and choosing his shots too.
Yeah, no, he's a great boxer. He's a skilled boxer, but it's so weird that all these Americans dick ride Naoya Inoue for
even
what?
Mike Tyson, the monster. I love Inoue.
No, the Mexican monster is David Benavidez. I don't think he really dick rides Inoue.
Let's have Inoue versus Benavidez.
But again, it's so weird. I don't understand. Like, boxing fans are the most fickle people. They just love this Japanese guy for what reason? I have no idea. Now, Inoue looked great getting this belt when he iced Stephen Fulton. But again, Stephen Fulton's not a guy with power. Luis Nery, I don't think that is really like it's a good match, but like, again, it's like
one-sided.
Nonito Donaire ruled this weight class before Luis Nery did and before Inoue did. So I don't know, man. It's weird that people dick ride him so hard, and I understand they like his style. How could you not, right? The guy puts on a show every time he boxes, but
fun to watch. That's why people love him.
But it's weird, dude. It's honestly kind of weird that people put so much stock into this guy. Like, and it's weird that the top rank commentators make it sound like he's the greatest boxer to ever live. There's so many other boxers in America that have accomplished more, against more credible opponents. So that's my little spiel on Inoue. I am looking forward to watching this fight back after I get off of work. I don't think it's going to go very long. Inoue's probably just going to ice Nery, but other than that,
you definitely have the right to criticize people who dick ride Inoue and people who sing his praises and just think that there isn't a crack in his armor. But I think there's less that you can say about the guy himself and how he boxes and his kind of personality. I think he's what brings eyes to boxing in the first place, which is shocking because he's in Japanese in Japan and doesn't speak a lick of English. But it's just what he does in the ring that matters. And for that reason, I just really like him. And a lot of people do justifiably like him. But to what extent is the main question. I think you answer that very well, Idaho.
And when you say he could be one of the greatest boxers of all time, nobody ever talks about Ricardo Lopez, dude. But why?
Does he why?
It's because when we talk about a guy like Inoue, who won titles at 112, 116, 120, 126. Sorry. I think it was 122 and then 126. This guy's jumping up 4 pounds in weight at a time and winning a title. Okay. That's why the booger weights, as they're called, get disrespected when it comes to overall legacy. A guy like Manny Pacquiao jumped up from actually, I think 116 all the way up to super welterweight to win titles. And he fought he fought legends, man, and I don't think that the only legend that Inoue has fought is Nonito Donaire.
Do you think there's a lot more legends that Inoue can potentially face, or is it like dry of those right now?
I think if he fought, now you got Shakur Stevenson at 130.
Yeah, that
Navarrete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even Valdez, right?
Yeah.
Those are some fights that I would like to see Inoue in, but
yeah. You think he can make that weight?
Oh, of course he can make the weight. The problem is, I think he's a little undersized for that weight class.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then when people want to see him versus Tank, I think Tank takes his fucking head off clean.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think that's a fight that Inoue wants. Like, no, he does want, but I don't think that fans of Inoue are ready for what happens to Inoue when he fights a guy like Tank Davis, because that's just too big of a step up to me. That's like asking Tank to fight Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, you know,
he'd probably have some bullshit about the rules and weight cutting as well, so that fight would probably never happen.
I think Inoue's a respectable guy, and I don't think he would. I think he would take it no matter what. He would take it on the chin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's going the Shield. He's tough as Korean Zombie.
Let's see him versus a respectable 130 pounder before we see him at 135. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, you know, it's up to the matchmakers in that case. I hope they make the right decision. Also, he always in Japan, he's always on these cards with his brother, who's also
Takuma.
Takuma. And so I think it's going to be like classic Inoue brothers, like Diaz brothers. One of them is going to win by decision, and the other is going to win by knockout. Although Takuma got a finish in his last fight, so maybe he pulls it off again, and both of them get knockouts. Either way, I like watching those two fight, and it's always fun seeing them like congratulate each other after they win.
Yeah, 100%, man, and yeah, this will be good for as long as it lasts. So I'm looking forward to seeing the highlights of it later after I get off work. But Tank and I went 2.5 hours for you guys today. We went over a lot, and we're gonna give you a recap show Monday or Sunday. So be on the lookout for that. And is there anything left that you want to say, Michael Scott?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Quote by Wayne Gretzky. Quote by Michael Scott. It's Brittany, bitches. Steve Erceg is getting the win. And you know what? I'm promoting him to assistant regional manager as the flyweight champion. You know, that means a lot. He did, you know, has Dwight done that? You done that, Dwight? No, Jim. No, I haven't done it, Michael. Please. I'll be a boxing champion. Just let me do it, please. Okay, you got to get down on your knees first and birth a watermelon for me. I'll do anything, Michael. I'll do anything. Erceg, finish this guy. And then Erceg does like the Jim Halpert kind of, and then bam, and destroys Dwight Schrute and breaks his glasses. And then it's Michael Scott and Steve Erceg forever. But they're both sitting at like double chairs at the same desk. And they're doing their little bobblehead thing, and that's the fair world I want us all to live in. It's first it was Garcia's world, and now it's la 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 Erseg's world. Erseg loves Australia. Nina drama too.
Jeez.
Erseg's world. So
well, that's our podcast for today, man. Be sure to look out the next one. Thanks to everyone who joined, and we out this bitch.